Basketball Studios. And today we are at Cafe Kubal. We go to Cafe Kubal once a month, and you will find us sometimes twice a month. And so we'll go out and we'll hang out at the Cafe Kubals around the community. We love being here. I actually got here early, and we appreciate your patience. Clay and I like to talk off the air, and so I should have turned the little button on, but that's okay. So we're happy to be here with you all. I was here at 8:30 for the record, but very happy to be hanging out inside of Cafe Kubal at Creek Walk Commons, 324 West Water Street. We have Clay Gagen-Sherman here with me today. We're both wearing very proudly our Bryant and Stratton attire for the Bobcats. You got your men's basketball head coach, served as the first ever women's basketball head coach, started the women's program, shifted over, and we got to do that exclusive for Mother's Cover on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Clay's been on the show many a time, and I think you're like rivaling how many times I've talked to Jim Boeheim at this point. So Clay is here with us, and very excited to start off the week, the final week. Cannot believe this, but final week of July. So we are going to be wrapping up July, heading into August. And by the way, big time shout out July 24th, yesterday, to my mother for her birthday. So shout out to Mom, happy 22nd birthday. And I'm older than her now, it's weird. But I love you, Mom, and I appreciate you very much. So shout out to Debbie Cavino Tortora. I love you so very much. And like I said, we're here on Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. And once a month, I should say, we're out at Cafe Kubal, youtube.com, facebook.com, and mixlr.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. And of course on facebook.com /LiveNowDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Plenty of ways to reach out to us and to have fun. And we'll be spending this show starting off the week with Clay Gagen-Sherman once again, Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse men's basketball head coach. Clay, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to be back on the show. Appreciate it, Dan.
Yeah, happy to be here with you. I'm happy to see that facial hair is the thing on this broadcast. We got a beard going on, and
doing my best.
I just trimmed up my Stark-esque goatee. So actually, somebody on the plane said to me, we were talking about Marvel, and I met a guy from Trinidad and Tobago. I never thought anybody lived there, right, in like paradise. And I'm sorry, Turks and Caicos. And so I was like, Turks and Caicos? And he's like, yeah, there's 49 islands or something ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about it, and he looked at me while we were talking about Marvel, and he goes, I'm going to tell you, you got a Tony Stark look. He goes, you resemble that. I like it. He's like, you got the same nose, you got the same thing. And I was like, don't say any more. We're friends now. So it's all good. Happy to be here, and happy to have a beautiful day in Central New York. So you got something really good. I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but you got a big week this week. Can we share that?
Yeah. Tomorrow's a big day for Bryant Stratton basketball. We have a few of our recruits coming up to Syracuse to check out the community a little bit more. Some guys that have already signed to get them back on campus. But yeah, we have a little private open gym where we're inviting local Syracuse recruits to come out and play. And get these guys, in the gym, also, at our facility playing against them. Just a good, solid open run opportunity for them to display their talents and for me to check out some other guys in the community. It's invite only. We got some great Syracuse talent, so we're getting them in our gym, and gives me an opportunity to talk to them and see if Bryant Stratton would be the right pick for them.
And like you said, you got some that you already know are saying yes, and you have some that could say yes. So why did you want to have that healthy mix of guys that are already committed to the program and then guys that are still undecided?
Well, it's an opportunity to for the guys that we have signed to come out and compete and show at the same time the type of talent that's in our community. And once we blend those two, playing styles together, they'll see guys that I'm recruiting, they'll be like, wow, there's a lot of talent in this program. What could we do if I joined that program? So just an opportunity to kind of display the talent we have in the program, display the talent in the Syracuse community, and try to attract as much talent that we can to build this thing up.
And for you, it's been a few months since you've been named the head coach of the men's basketball team. How has life been going? How has the journey been so far in getting acclimated with this? I mean, you stayed at the same college, you know the sport of basketball. So did anything change even a little bit?
For sure. I mean, being on the women's side the last 3 years, I've obviously developed a lot of relationships on the women's side of basketball. So a lot of coaches and stuff like that. I've stayed in contact. On the men's side, I had a lot of previous relationships. So just reaching back out to those guys and letting them know, I'm coaching the men's team at Bryant and Stratton now. So, just reconnecting. Obviously, I've stayed connected, but just a little bit more. Just strengthening those relationships a little bit deeper, and letting them know if you guys have any high school basketball players, any boys that are looking for a great college, send them my way, get them out to Syracuse. That's been the major transition.
And like you said, when you build those relationships, you build those connections, now you can recruit those people, from shaking hands and becoming friends and playing some pickup games and whatnot, to actually potentially becoming their coach. How has that been, and how do you bridge the gap between being a friend and then recruiting somebody and looking to be a leader?
Yeah, with the men's players, there's 7 returners this upcoming season. I've known most of them since their first year at Bryant and Stratton, and I've had a really strong rapport. They know, I'm kind of extremely serious about building up the women's side the last 3 years. They know I'm a competitor. They know I prepare at a high level. My teams are always ready to play. I think there's a level of respect that the returners have for me already. But now coming in, it's about leading by example, just showing up every day, just kind of doing what I'm preaching. And, through that, I think I'll get even more respect from my players. I'll get the buy-in that I'm looking for. And, with the new guys, it's, I've been doing that since the first day, the first contact, just kind of sharing my vision. And then through that, just following up and showing them how serious I am about that vision. And I think the guys are extremely excited. I think they know that I'm a coach that they'll love to play for, someone that's going to challenge them, someone that's going to go wall to wall with them in competition.
Yeah, and you've gotten to do a lot of different things, in your life. You've gotten to be in different parts of this sports world, and you've been able to play and you've been able to coach. You're a young coach, and you've already gotten the experience of having one program. Now you get a second one. How blessed do you feel this morning that, at the age that you are, that you have already led a women's basketball program collegially, and now you have a chance to lead a men's one?
Extremely blessed. The women's side, coach of the women's team the last 3 years, it was a dream come true. I remember my 25th birthday, I was waking up in New York City, recruiting my basketball team. And, that upcoming fall was going to be the first year in program history. So I was turning 25 in New York City, just going after the best basketball players in the best basketball city in the world. That I just feel extremely blessed for that opportunity, and it's been a great journey the last 3 years. We've accomplished a ton. Getting to the national tournament twice has been just another amazing experience, playing against the top teams in the country in the USCAA. And now that I'm coming over to the men's side, we're looking to do more of the same, get there, but now we really want to win. We want to win games in Virginia. We want to win games in the national tournament. We want to go in as the top seed in the country. Just really excited for that next step.
Coming here from Clay Gagen-Sherman as we are inside of Cafe Kubal, Creekwalk Commons, 324 West Water Street in Syracuse. You can also find them at 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, New York, 3501 James Street in Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, as well as at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. So you got a cup of coffee today, and I want to talk about this because it's off the air here. But you got a pretty big mug.
Yeah.
And you weren't ready for it, so you thought, because places literally, you go to typical diner or whatever, they give you a little tiny one. Here they give you like 3 times the cup. So
yeah, it's a big cup. I should have went with the paper to go, I guess, but I'm feeling good right now. Right? A little fired up, got a little extra energy.
Yeah. So do you have a go-to coffee, espresso? What do you do? Like when you wake yourself up in the morning, do you have a go-to?
Honestly, I used to be kind of, a big coffee drinker. I'd have 1 cup a day. A lot of times just a quick drive-through, iced coffee in the summer. I usually get almond milk, stevia. But in the winter, I switch it up and just go back to the hot coffee.
So, and I find it interesting the people that go iced in the winter in Central New York. I used to try to kind of, but I can't anymore. And the funny thing is, I feel like, I don't know if my body switched, but I'm hot in the summer now too. So my Cafe Kubal, as you all know it, we call it the DT Special. Any type of chai, because chai is my thing. But I only get it at Cafe Kubal because they do it right. The spices, the syrups, everything that they do here is so good. And my favorite is pumpkin, but the one I have today, which is my new jam, is vanilla lavender. Okay. So lavender's seasonal, but I mix vanilla with lavender. I just throw a bunch of stuff in there, and it just like, I mean, it's like how I cook. It's how I make my drinks. Just put a bunch of different flavors in. Let's see what happens. So vanilla lavender is a close second to pumpkin here at Cafe Kubal. But it's also almond milk. So I know you like your almond milk. So here with Clay Gagen-Sherman, myself, Dan Tortora, and promoting local sports, local business, and our wonderful community. For you, Clay, there's a lot of things we're going to get to today. I want to look at the bigger picture beyond Bryant and Stratton as well. But to someone who doesn't know the USCAA, how would you describe it?
It's a national conference. It's a 4-year level. There's 2 levels to it. There's a Division I and a Division II. And like I said, it's a national conference. So teams from Florida, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, obviously New York, Maine. There's a ton of teams from all over the country. It's an independent conference. So at the end of the year, the top 8 teams get an at-large bid and compete for a national championship. Like I said, that's always a big goal of ours, is to get into that national tournament and to compete for some hardware. Our soccer teams have done it in the past. Both teams won a national championship last year. Our men's team has won back-to-back. But it's a great conference. It gives you a ton of exposure to play different teams from all over the country.
Yeah, and I think there's so much fun institution, and they're trying to find their identity and figure out who they are and how to handle everything and how to control what they can control right at this point. It's probably good to be on the outside of this cluster looking in right now, because some people might say years ago, well, what's the USCAA and what's the NJCAA and different pieces that aren't the NCAA. But I would say right now it's probably nice to not have to deal with the craziness that has become collegiate athletics.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, small college athletics are definitely, a good spot to be in. It seems like the USCAA is in a really good spot right now. We're constantly growing, adding teams, adding different levels. It's definitely a great spot to be. And, we're really excited. Last year was the first year for the basketball tournament, the national basketball tournament, to be at Virginia State University. It's a new venue. It's an absolutely beautiful venue, and somewhere we're really happy to compete at in the years to come.
Yeah, and you were down in Richmond, Virginia, so kind of exciting here. And let people know that don't know, there's not only Bryant and Stratton colleges all over the country, but in the USCAA, you're playing teams. You play teams from Wisconsin, from Florida. I mean, there's different places you're going to see these teams from.
Yeah, last year we matched up with St. Mary of the Woods College out of Indiana. They went on and made it to the national championship game, and they actually had an 11-point lead going into the 4th quarter. St. Mary of the Woods out of Indiana, and then on day 2 we played Florida National. And then back in 2020, our first year in the national tournament, we were matched up with St. Thomas University out of, I believe, Houston, Texas. So, yeah, you're playing teams from all over the country.
Yeah, and it's got to be fun and exciting. And let's see here. Kevin said sounds good from 30,000 feet. So
yeah, he's traveling today.
So he is actually watching the show from the air.
Yeah, he is.
So we have broadcasted Wake Up Call live in multiple cities up and down the East Coast. We have gone live from Toronto, out of the country. We have reached people all over the world. But for the first time ever, we're reaching people from the sky, thanks to Kevin. So big shout out to Kev, and the fact that Wake Up Call is now being aired live at 30,000 feet. Why don't you take the earbuds out, and why don't you let that play for the whole plane? Because that's a contained environment. I think everybody should hear the show. Let's get some Wake Up Call on this wonderful airline. Where's he heading today?
Yeah, let's do it. I think he's heading to either Louisiana or Texas. He's out of town doing some work.
Well, I got connects there. We got Tulane in Louisiana, and in Texas, SMU, Houston. We will have Rice. We got UTSA. So I got I got a lot of connects down there. So let's turn that on, and I'll say hi, y'all. But well, it's y'all in Texas. In Louisiana, everything's when it's go, it's Geaux. You know how they change it to like a different. And Ed Ogeron, I know he's not Coach O's not there anymore, but that Creole soul that he has and that energy that he has, and maybe we could get Ed Ogeron to come back up to Syracuse. You know, he has a connection to Syracuse, so
Never know.
you know, maybe get Coach a little bit of Coach O up here. So some good stuff going on. Thank you to Kevin for listening and watching from 30,000 feet. Good morning, Tamala. I appreciate y'all being here. So for you in this specific program, Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse for the men's basketball team, what is it that has invigorated you about this upcoming season and what this program has done already? I mean, they just made their first ever national tournament with Danny Frasina as the head coach. So what is it about this program that just made you feel so enticed to take this job, take the opportunity in this moment? Because I know it's hard to leave the women's basketball program, so what was it that this was the right time?
Well, like you said, they made it to the national tournament last year for the first time. And as I mentioned, the men's team, and they have a lot of really good basketball players. They have a lot of really good students. And I just saw an opportunity to help continue to raise the standard. You know, we have a few seniors coming in this year for their last year, and I think, you know, the sky's the limit in terms of what we can do on the basketball court. And then also I know that, you know, Syracuse, the community of Syracuse has a ton of basketball players in it. So, you know, in the future, I'd love to bring in some more Syracuse guys, get them in the program. I think that'll strengthen our connection with the community. You know, I think we'll really be able to pack stands through doing that and really get a great home game atmosphere. But really, it just fell back to the opportunity. And, you know, with the returners that we have coming in this season, I'm really excited to coach them. And, you know, I think they're going to be bought in from day one. And, you know, our new guys coming in, you know, they'll kind of see the example that's set by myself and by the returners. And through that, I think we're going to do fantastic things on the basketball court, in the classroom, and in the community.
Basketball court, classroom, community. Those are, if you don't have the 3 C's, I think you should probably put those on the board. That was said very easily by you.
Yeah, those are kind of the 3 pillars of the program. That's kind of the vision. So, you know, we obviously, number one goal as a program is to graduate our student athletes. Our second is for our student athletes to make an impact in the community. And our third is, you know, to be excellent on the basketball court and bring national championships back to Syracuse.
Classroom, community, court. You heard it here from Clay Gagen-Sherman. We are live on site on location at Cafe Kubal, supporting local business and local sports with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll be back right after this fast break, so tune in to our fantastic partners, and we'll be back here inside of Cafe Kubal in just a little bit to continue our conversation with Clay on the local level, and then to branch out and get his thoughts, because Clay is someone who is very much involved himself in knowing the sports world and likes to be a challenge on a unique challenge, a challenge like not like Alex Grigorita, who will ask me like what a coach that, you know, was at Chelsea in 1989 had for lunch that Thursday in 1989. That's not as deep as we go here, because Clay's got some, I don't know, some respect. But
Alex likes to keep you on your toes. That's
he
for
does.
Sure.
He definitely does. And I know that we had him out at Cafe Kubal on 401 South Salina Street. So he's going to be comparing himself to you today, I'm sure, as you're both out to Cafe Kubal. So we'll be back right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of Cafe Kubal. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of Cafe Kubal, 324 West Water Street, hanging out here with you at the Creekwalk Commons location in Syracuse, New York. We have Clay Gagen-Sherman here with us on site, on location, as we will start off the last week of July here. I can't believe it. And then it's August, and then the fair's like 92 days long now. So, I mean, I think there's more days that the fair is than it isn't in August. I think it's like 18 days, oh, wow. and there's 31 days, right? So we're gonna have more fair than we don't have. My thing about the fair though is like, because it's just like there's no cover, right? Okay. I mean, there's tents to like eat food, but when it's hot and it's so wide open, it's like God has a magnifying glass with like an ant, right? And you're just kind of following us around. And I just remember being at the fair being like, oh my God, it's so hot. But, you know, because when you're at like a place like Disney, right, you're outside, inside, and I've been there enough to know where to go in. I know the coldest place in Walt Disney World.
Where's that?
It's the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot inside of the pyramid thing, inside of like that area. If you go into Mexico and you see the food is on your right side, there's like a pyramid on your left side. It is the coldest building on property, and it's fantastic. And I have crawled in there before to regenerate and then go back out. It'd be like 102 degrees. You go in there and it's like 47, and then you come out. And some people are like, "Oh my God, it's so cold." And I love it.
I can't take the heat, so I don't blame you 1 second.
No, I love when things are.
I like cool weather.
I gotta sleep cold, right?
Yeah.
You can't sleep
You
hot.
have to, yeah.
So I gotta ask you this. So Clay, for those of you that don't know, is married to a wonderful lady, Kate. And so, does she like Kate or Caitlin? What does she like?
Kate.
Kate. Okay.
Yep.
So married to Kate. Does she sleep hot or cold? Like when you're, because this is something I realize in relationships, the thermostat is a big time issue. It can be, right? Because like she'll set it to 72, you'll set it to 69, she'll set it to 75, you'll set it to 70. Yeah. So how are you and Kate with the thermostat?
So we like to sleep cold for sure. We like a cool house.
Yeah.
But we have kind of an ongoing debate about the fan.
About the fan?
She has to sleep with a fan on.
Okay.
Every single night, whether it's -10 outside or not, she needs a fan. And
My kind of human being right there.
for some reason, it seems like it's always pointing towards me. I don't know. So
I got a
little extra cool air.
I got a message saying Grayson says hi.
Yes, that's our nephew Grayson. Ryan's our sister-in-law. So, hey Grayson, good morning. How you doing? Thanks for watching the show. See you later, buddy. I'm sure I'll see him today or tomorrow.
What's up, Grayson, and to the family? Big shout out. How old's Grayson?
Grayson is, oh geez, put me on the spot. I think 3, I believe. No, 4. I think. Oh wait. Oh man, 4. He's about to be 4.
About
That's
to be
right.
4? Happy early birthday to you, Grayson. You got a shameless plug, so we love you. We appreciate you. So, there's, and I mean that sincerely because we gotta love up our future, right?
You have to, yeah. He's
Gotta
starting to
love
love basketball too, so.
Good. He's already into basketball.
Just he likes it, yeah. He watched Boeheim's Army the other night and was starting to get into it a little bit.
Smart kid. Love basketball. So, but yeah. So
He's about to be 5, actually. I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. I'm pretty sure he's about to be 5.
Grayson,
Sorry
happy
about that.
whatever birthday you're going to be having, okay? Whether it's 3, 4, or 5, at some point in your life, you're going to reach an age and you're going to just stay there when people ask you, and that's okay. So, some uncle, right? I mean, whatever, it's fine.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, awesome. Shout out to Grayson. Hope you and the family are doing well. So, your wife has to sleep with a fan on even in the winter.
Yep, she loves.
Is
the
it a
fan.
fan that
It's
makes
the
that
sound.
rum, rum,
Yep,
rum?
she needs the sound. Yeah.
Oh, she needs the sound.
But apps
What about
don't
the app?
work.
The app doesn't
yeah,
work?
the apps don't work. It has to be an actual fan. So.
I can't deal with the like that would like I can fall asleep to anything, but growing up as a kid on the north side here in central New York, my dad refused to get central air. He wouldn't do it.
Okay.
And it would get hot and he would go open a window. So my mom and I would sleep downstairs because it was cooler downstairs, and my dad would stay upstairs to like prove a point, and he'd be sweating like crazy upstairs because if it's 90 outside, it was like 102 upstairs. So he's just dealing with it in the house, dealing with it. He'd say open a window, and then there'd be those nights where we had thunderstorms and there would be no breeze. So you just hear the thunder, it's hot as all get out, so it's loud, it's hot, and there's no breeze. You got all the windows open, it's making the house hotter. And you're trying to fall asleep, I'm laying on the floor, I'm like putting my face against the hardwood, waking up, face stuck to the ground. And my dad came down one day, I was 18, gonna be 18, and he comes down sweating. Almost like my mom and I made him go upstairs, which we did. His shirt, sweat running down his face, he goes, we're getting central air. And then I went to college. So he got central air when I left, and I was like, Dad, that's like a real jerk move. I love my dad, but I was like, what the heck? But we went all those years with no central air. I have to, and I guess a tribute to your wife, Kate, I can't be in a car that's hot because it makes me tired. So you'll catch me in the winter with the air conditioning on if it gets too hot in the car, which like I try to not put it on high because I'm not trying to get sick. But like if it's hot in the car, and I feel that on my eyes, I start to get really sleepy. And then whoever I was like dating at the time would complain that it was too cold in the car, and I was like, do you want it to be cold in the car, or do you want to die? Because like I'm gonna fall asleep behind the wheel, and I just get this like heavy eye feeling. So I don't know. I always have to have coolness, but after living in Florida for a year and a half back in the day, and then going down pretty much every year except for the COVID year of 2020, so I feel like my body's finally it didn't get acclimated when I lived there, but I think my body is finally changing toward the heat now in Florida, because when I go down, and I've been down multiple times this year where it's been in the 90s, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Like, I don't feel the sizzle anymore, so I don't know what's happening to me. I'm mutating, I guess, in a good way.
I need cold weather. I'm literally the opposite, except in a car. The way you're saying, like, the heat makes you tired, the AC kills me. So
Really?
when we do long road trips, Kate, again, she likes to have the AC cranking. So I'm just constantly, trying to find ways to keep myself awake,
Hoping she falls asleep so you can turn it up a lot.
always try to sneak, change it real quick. But you also have to bundle up on road trips with Kate. She likes it nice and cold. So whether it's 90 degrees out, we're wearing sweatshirts, making sure we're warm in the car.
So you're the warm one, she's the cold one.
Yep.
So I feel like that's always part of a relationship, but it's the thermostat setting, right? Because I have a mode that I live in.
Yep.
And here's the thing, I don't know if National Grid sends this to you, but I get really pumped for it. National Grid sends a like monthly or bi-monthly thing that has blue, green, and gray. Okay. Gray are like all the households that are using way too much energy. Green are the households that are doing a good job, and like the average good household, and then blue are the people that are just absolutely killing it. Yeah. And I'm almost always in blue. The one month that I was not in blue and I was in green, and I'm still paying for it, was when I had been dating somebody at the time, and she kept turning up my thermostat and changing everything and putting the heat on, putting the air on, and all that. I shot up from like December was graceful. January was like, it was 3 times the energy. And I was like, for the first time ever, you took me out of blue. and I looked at my thing yesterday, and I love getting it. I open up the report and I see it, and it's like, bad households, good households, you. And I'm in that excellent range again. So I'm like, yes. So very, very proud of it. They're like, you're using less energy than the eco-friendly people. And I was like, well,
good for you, man.
Good for me.
Yeah.
I'm saving the environment. We can't have plastic bags anymore, so got to do something else, I guess. By the way, I don't know if you do this, but when I go to Pennsylvania or literally anywhere else other than New York and they hand me a plastic bag, I feel like they're giving me a gift. Because you don't know how much you need plastic bags until you have a house and you have those little bathroom trash bins. And I don't buy small trash bags because that's ridiculous.
Right.
And so I always use like the Wegmans bags, the Walmart bags. So I go to Pennsylvania and I hoard them and I bring them back and I use them in my bathroom. And so when I was down in Charlotte and the lady's like, would you like a bag? And I was like, wait a minute. Is it plastic? Yep. Do I have to pay for it? No. I was like, it's nice to know that you're living free in Charlotte. So I tell people all the time, celebrate your freedom. But I never thought I'd miss a plastic bag, but I do.
Right? Yeah, they come in handy for sure.
So very happy to be here with Clay Gagen-Sherman, having a good time. I like how you just kind of, just one word. It's okay. It's not political. We can run with this here. Bring plastic bags back to New York, but just don't litter. Because that's what they said. They're like, get rid of plastic bags. We're going to help the environment. No, people are just going to throw more things out their window that aren't plastic bags.
Yeah, people are going to buy the reusable bags and then throw those out.
And they're going to throw those out the window, and those really don't disintegrate. So It's like, and by the way, Walmart, I know your game. And Walmart's got really cheap paper bags now.
Okay.
So they didn't just buy paper bags, and you have to pay for them. But they're super cheap.
The ones that rip, right?
Yeah, and as soon as you go out, they rip when you put them into your car. No matter what I do, they rip.
Same thing here, yeah.
So I can honestly say that I just think people should be more responsible and not litter. It's not that hard.
I mean, you're not asking for much.
Do you ever go like in the city and you walk by a trash can and there's like a cup right next to the trash can and you're like, you got this far, but you couldn't just lift it into the trash.
Just put it in the bag, man.
Yeah, I feel like taking away plastic bags from people is just trying to people are just going to find other ways to be litterers.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
pretty much. Yeah.
Bring it back. Plastic bags for New York. I'm going to start wearing a shirt. But, because I need something for my trash can. I have to be a good host when people come over. I can't be like, don't use that trash can. There's nothing in it. So, and for some reason, a long time ago, my ex of years and years ago, she bought one of those trash bins, and it's got all the holes in it.
Okay.
Right?
Oh,
So it's
yeah,
like it's not a real trash bin because the other one I have is like plastic, right? And it's enclosed. So if you didn't have a bag, you could throw stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
This other one, it's like freewheeling when you throw something in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did she buy this? But then again, I don't want to buy a new one. So when she left and kept the trash thing, I was like, well, I guess me and this hollowed out goodness is going to have to find a way to live together. And we've done all right. So, because I have a Toronto Raptors trash bin, but I won't use it.
Okay.
Like as a kid, I put like
kind
my
of a
toy
souvenir,
basketballs
yeah.
and stuff in it. Yeah, I can't put trash inside of the Raptors stuff because we're not trash. So, trying to figure it out though, trying to get there. We're here with Clay Gagen-Sherman, the head coach of the men's basketball team at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Myself, Dan Tortora, the show Wake Up Call. And every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we're live from the Cafe Kubal studios. And then you get to see us on site on location at Cafe Kubals around our community throughout the year, as well as they are our proud exclusive studio partner, and we thank them for believing in our brand, and we of course very much believe in everything that Matt Goddard and the team have done. I want to shout out the staff at 324 West Water Street here today at Creek Walk Commons in Syracuse for being awesome as usual and for giving me some really good chai. So back to basketball. We took a long road from trash cans and cold weather back to basketball, but we're getting there. And Grayson having 3 different ages, but
Yeah. He's 4 turning 5.
he's 4 turning 5?
Yeah,
Are you sure now?
95%.
Okay. I really hope they responded. Let's see if they responded. No, they didn't. We didn't get it yet.
Hopefully they missed that part.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't catch that because you're not going to get invited over for any type of barbecue anytime soon.
The worst part is he's planning his birthday and everything right now as we speak.
Do you know what he likes, what he wants his birthday theme to be?
Not necessarily his theme for his birthday, but he loves Minions right now.
He loves Minions.
He's a big, yeah,
Has he seen
he's
the
really
movie?
Into it. Yep, he's seen the movie. They went when we got back from vacation. But yeah, he's a big Minion guy. He wants everyone to be a Minion for Halloween. So.
Are you going to be?
And who's the main character? Like the older guy?
Steve Carell's character. Oh my goodness! I just saw
What's
the
his
movie.
name?
Brew.
Yeah, he wants Kevin to be Brew and everyone to be Minions. So.
Okay, I like that. That's very. I would like to see that. Will you be a Minion? Will you do it?
Well, I'm game for whatever. So if he wants me to be Minion, definitely.
I
I know he
think
wants
that you-
Cleo and his little sister Nora to be Minions. So I'm sure there's a good chance we all may be.
I think you should be a Minion, and I think you should have to talk like them for 24 hours.
I would have to practice for days. But
Yeah, I think it would be really cool. I would love for you to have to coach like that and wear like the suspenders and everything. So let's do it. We're going to make Clay a Minion. So looking at this men's basketball team, how was it now that it's been a few months, I know we talked about this going into it, but what's it been like to spread your message to the guys that could come back? Like, what can you say about the retention rate of switching from Danny Frisina to you and just what that was like and the coaching change? And if you feel that, you were able to find a way to say to them, hey, I know I'm not the one that brought you in, but obviously being on campus, you got to know a bunch of the guys. So how was that way of kind of saying, I know you believed in Danny, now believe in, in me and know that I'm going to take care of you here?
Yeah, just coming in, again, just sharing the vision from day one with the guys. We had that relationship, and, it's just been like, literally, like immediately, it's like, this is what it is, this is what my expectations are. either you're all in or, you know, I can help you find another school. And honestly, like, most of the guys stayed. We lost a couple guys to the transfer portal. But I think some of those guys, it wasn't necessarily me coming in and taking over. They're just looking for that next step in you know, their college careers as student athletes. You know, a few guys did 2 years. They got their associates and moved on. They're looking for, you know, just something different, maybe a bigger school or something like that. But yeah, the guys that stayed, I'm super excited about. Again, I told them day one, like, either you're all in or not. And now, like, if you're in, I need to know within the next week or so. Those guys let me know, and then, you know, this summer's been all about getting better. I sent out this expected strength and conditioning program. We're sending out a running program this week. It'll be an 8-week program to get them running a mile as quick as possible. That'll be kind of what our running program's geared towards. Shout out to Coach Martinez at SUNY Oswego, our former track and field coach at Bryant and Stratton. I reached out to him. He's an amazing coach, a great runner. I believe he just came fourth at the Boilermaker, right, in Utica.
Boilermaker, yeah.
Yeah, he did the 5K. I think he came in fourth in the 5K. But he's been super helpful getting that running program together for the guys, because I want to give them the best product possible to make sure when they come into season, you know, they're not just better basketball players, but they're ready. We're not using those first few weeks to get in shape. They're coming to preseason in shape, ready to go. So shout out to Coach Martinez. He really helped us put together a nice program to get the guys ready.
So for you, like you said, and you brought up the transfer portal, that even in USCAA you're allowed to move around.
Yeah.
What similarities do you have with the NCAA right now for small colleges?
I mean, guys can compete right away if they transfer. So, you know, that's number one. Obviously, they have to be eligible at their previous institution.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're eligible and they look to transfer, they'll be able to play right away. So it's an opportunity to, you know, add some talented players to your roster. That can be impact guys with some collegiate experience. One of our top recruits coming in is transferring in from a D2, Catawba College out of, I believe, North Carolina. He played 2 years there. One of the years was COVID, but he got some great experience. He's a high-level player that he can really defend. He plays the 1, but can play the 2. But, you know, he's been part of a serious program that's been established for a while. So he's going to bring a lot of the lessons, a lot of the things he's learned there, and kind of come in as a new guy for us, but someone with great experience that can help us, you know, continue to raise the standard. So, you know, it's, again, the transfer portal, transfers in general, there's a great opportunity to bring in impact players with good experience.
Yeah, you know, and there's you know, an art to that. So as a head coach, how are you looking at the dance of bringing in somebody from a high school or a prep school to the transfer portal? You know, how do you balance it, and how are you looking to navigate through the waters of this very interesting world? I mean, does it change for you year to year? Do you want to have a balance of it? Is it just who the top talent is? Because I know high school wise, you know, some people might be a little bit concerned that transfers, whether it be USCAA or the NCAA or whatever it may be, they're nervous that people that have already had experience are going to take all those jobs and they're not going to have an opportunity. So how are you recruiting as a coach, knowing that you have multiple avenues, and at Bryant and Stratton in and of itself, you can be a little bit older if you have eligibility, so there's another angle to that as well. Like I could go to Bryant and Stratton right now at 36, and I would think I would have eligibility because I didn't use it all when I was playing or when I was at school. So I arguably at 36 years old could try out, which is something that you wouldn't see at another school.
Yeah, as long as you didn't use your, I believe it's 10 semesters of attendance, full-time attendance. But yeah, it gives you kind of different avenues, like you said, to pursue recruits. But in terms of just like the strategy going into it, what's up, Sam? Good morning.
He's 4 turning 5 on October 2nd. Oh, he's an October baby. I'm
Yes,
October
sir.
21st. So
Yes, sir.
big ups to Grayson being an October
Leo
baby.
is as well.
Between the two of them,
you guys share the birthday.
we do, and I wanna let you know something, Sam. Between Clay and I will never forget Grayson's birthday.
I could have told you October 2nd though. I didn't know that, but I'm just terrible
I'm just
with
messing
dates.
with you. No, it's okay. I think at a certain point you forget. Like I have to sit here and say, I know my parents are either one of two ages, but my dad got to a certain age, and now I'm trying to remember, is he a year older than that, or is that happening this year? So I know like they're 1 or 2.
Yep.
But I just have to figure out which one that is. I'm pretty confident I know how old my dad is. So I won't say it, Dad. I love you. But my parents don't really, I don't know. They think they do, I guess, but they don't seem to age to me. They got to like a certain point, and I don't know, my dad looked really good yesterday. My mom always looks beautiful.
Awesome.
So my mom got my grandma's genes where you get to a certain age, but then you just like stop aging. Right. So my mom's like literally her face looks, I said to my mom, I go, she looks like she like went 20 years back.
Yeah.
and I think it's just, you know, she got rid of some stress and some things in her life, and she just got brighter, you know, if that was possible, because she's an awesome, bright spirit. But it's just, you know, you see that in your family. And then I was thinking that yesterday, I'm like, I kind of forgot where they're at now, because they don't seem that age, you know what I mean? Like, right. And I would hope that. I hope, you know, when I'm 80, people are like, what are you, 50? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to look like, you know, the Miles or Anya type of thing, because you see some people and I'm like, are you 60? And like, I'm 30. So, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes the road is, you can't take life too seriously. You can't let it get to you. If I've learned anything, it's, you know, other people's stress that they try to put on you, that's their gift they're trying to give to you. Doesn't mean you have to take it, and doesn't mean you have to open it. So I take those little stress gifts and I put them right under their tree. I go, this belongs to you. This does not have my name on it anymore. So I leave those stress gifts to somebody else.
Fair enough, yeah.
So we were talking about, though, getting ready and getting into the season and recruiting, and how you're going to balance transfers that could play immediately, people that still have eligibility, and your traditional high school and prep school.
Yeah, so I think each year it will definitely differ, depending on who the returners are, what the team needs are. You know, for this year in particular, you know, we need, obviously I'm a new coach with a new vision. Like I said, I'm excited about the returners that we have. But honestly, I'm looking for talent, of course, but in addition to that talent, I'm looking for guys that are going to be able to rise up to the standards that we're setting. So, you know, guys that are extremely committed. Like, I don't want to bring in kids that I'm tracking down to try to get their paperwork done. You know, if I'm recruiting a kid, you got to do an application. I'm expecting it, and I'm telling them, like, straight up, I'm expecting this to be done by the end of the night. And, you know, if it's a kid that, you know, gets it done immediately, that's a great first impression for me. That's someone I'm going to continue to actively pursue. But if it's a kid that takes 3 or 4 days just to do, you know, a simple step, all right, I don't see this kid, you know, being successful in this program with the type of standards and what we're looking for. It's just not going to be the right fit. So, you know, this year especially, you know, taking over the program, starting it off under my coaching, I'm just looking for guys that are committed, you know, to doing everything, you know, just being all in. You know, you had, you know, at Bryant and Stratton, you're going to have a few commitments. Like I said earlier, it's going to be academics, community involvement, and basketball. You know, we're a small college. It's a slow pace. It's calm. You can really focus on those 3 things. But I'm expecting you to focus 110% and give it everything you got. So, you know, again, those are the type of student athletes that I'm looking for. And I think we've done an extremely good job attracting them, getting them on campus, and, you know, getting it done. So I'm really excited about this upcoming season.
You spoke about wanting to bring in talent from the local area, you know, Syracuse, Central, and upstate New York. What can you say about having an eye on the local high schools and whatnot? What you think about the talent in this area?
There's a ton of talent. I mean, you know, all the classes in Section 3 are extremely talented. There's a lot of good players. You know, there's a lot of great coaches. You know, I'm really excited about, you know, Makai Reed that we're bringing in from Syracuse Academy of Science. That's an awesome program. Cornelius Fines has done a fantastic job over there. I know he's going to be at Nottingham this upcoming season. Coach Reggie, the athletic director at SAS, has been an awesome, you know, resource, an awesome friend, an awesome relationship for myself ever since I took over the women's program. So there's a ton of talent out there, and honestly, it's not even just the high school level. There's a lot of guys playing in the elite league this summer, that, again, they have eligibility for the best summer league in Central New York. There's a ton of talent. I mean, there's guys that have played, there's guys playing Division I in the league, there's guys that just came back from overseas, and then there's, guys that just graduated high school like Mackay playing in it. So, there's a ton of talent out here. I mean, I even go to the YMCA once in a while, once a week probably, and I'll pop into the open runs over there. And of course, there are some old heads that can definitely still hoop. But then you find those guys that maybe they didn't go anywhere after high school that can still really play, and they're in the Syracuse community. There's just so much talent here. It's just a matter of getting out there, just discovering it, developing those relationships, and seeing if going back to school is the right fit for that individual.
Yeah, and I think it's great. And you talk about, education first. What can you say about the education? What does Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse offer? I know there's been an expansion from, years ago on what you can have and the degrees you can get and the different things that you could do. And I know that, there's always this, from what I see, there's this excitement to expand, excitement to grow, right? There's more athletic programs coming to Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. We're going to get to see baseball and building on these successes, seeing the basketball program for women's, the basketball program for men's, to see the success of the soccer programs, to see the evolution of the baseball program, to see esports. There's a lot of different things happening on that side. But then when you go down to one of the the basement level of Bryant and Stratton, and you're checking it out and whatnot, and you get to see everything going on with the majors that are obviously connected to our medical fields. Yeah. There's a lot of state-of-the-art, really cool things happening. So I'd love for you to share, if education is first, which it is, just how you view education at Bryant and Stratton.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing that sticks out the most, and I mean, once you get on campus and you meet the people, you realize how much support you have as a student. It's a community within itself. Our students, again, it's smaller college. There's a ton of support in the classroom setting. The professors really take the time to get to learn who the students are. They develop that relationship. They know if a kid's on the basketball team, they know what happened in the game last night. They know that they're on the road, so they're willing to work with them as long as the student's showing up and giving good energy and a good attitude. Number one, there's a ton of support. It's a community within itself. And then, on the academic side, the curriculum is awesome. We recently, I think it was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, we launched our BSN in nursing. You can get a 4-year nursing degree in 2.5 years. It's a phenomenal program that's been doing extremely well since we launched it. It's actually at our Liverpool campus, which is very new as well, so a beautiful facility up there. So that's one of our new up-and-coming programs that has done really well in our community. And then we have business, which you can get a 2-year or a 4-year at Bryant and Stratton. So we have the flexibility to get an associate's or a bachelor's. Yeah. And then we also have programs in the health field outside of nursing, like occupational therapy, physical therapy, medical assisting, health services administration. We also brought the graphic design program to our downtown campus, and we have a Mac lab, so another really interesting program that is very popular, I guess. I mean, that can apply to basically any industry if you have the skills of graphic design. And then we have a career services department as well. So we're not just bringing guys in or students in and helping them get degrees. We're helping them prepare for that next step. Once they get that degree, we're helping them land that job. We're helping them do resumes. We host mock interviews where they're getting experience interviewing with faculty, and they get feedback on what they did well, how they could have prepared better the next time. There's a lot that goes into our student development at our college that has been extremely beneficial, and our job placement for graduates is extremely high. It's in the high 90%, and they also, we also help them get internships in the community. It's part of the curriculum. So, I can't speak enough about the academic programs at our college.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and I appreciate, the fact that just to ask you about education and to see you as a coach have all of that information right at your fingertips. I mean, it's not like you had anything written down or anything like that, and you see in the world of coaching that you're not always going to get that answer, right? You're not going to get an answer. I mean, everybody will say academics are important, but you actually are telling me, you can get this program, you can go to this one, get this 4-year one in 2.5 years. This at this location, this is here. We have the internships, we have the graduate placement. I think it's great to know that the coaches are educated about all of this. Now, is that you just kind of doing your due diligence, or is that also like a bit of Nick Dimitrievsky as the athletic director making sure that the coaching, all the coaches on campus know what they can sell and what they can talk about and the avenues you can take academically? I mean, does that come from a leadership place where it's important for all of you coaches to be able to be well versed when it comes to academics?
Yeah, it's definitely an extension, and obviously I've been here for almost 4 years now, so I just kind of learn as I go. But it's a selling point for our school. Our academic programs are a selling point. If we're going to attract student athletes, we have to know that, because the entire thing that goes into it, we're not a big facility. So students aren't going to come to Bryant and Stratton because we have a beautiful gym and huge locker rooms and things like that. They're going to come to Bryant and Stratton because they can visualize, okay, I can get this degree here, you're going to help me get this internship. They're thinking about those next steps after graduation.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to work with what that student wants and help them really visualize it.
And you talked about it, and I spoke with them. We did an exclusive special. You can check it out on the BSC SYR tab. That's BSC SYR. That tab on WakeUpCallDT.com is the personal page. That's the page for all Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse coverage that we do on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively in our multimedia marketing partnership. You can also get it on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And my conversation with Makai Reed, where we did that exclusive after he had committed to Bryant and Stratton College to play for Clay in the men's basketball team, that he said that he's interested in business, and he has a landscaping business that he already has.
Right.
So he's looking to grow that and blossom that and learn about it. So Bryant and Stratton gives him an opportunity to stay in Syracuse, in his hometown, to come from the Academy of Science here in Syracuse, New York, and then to further his business side of things and further his basketball side of things. So, I mean, with Makai specifically, you give him something that is already of interest to him, that he's already a part of when it comes to business. You help him to have the tools to be a successful business person while he gets to continue to play the sport he loves, while he gets to do it in front of his community and his family. So, that's a perfect example of Bryant and Stratton talking about classroom, community, and court.
Absolutely, and also his mom actually graduated from Bryant and Stratton as well. So she, again, it was kind of an easy sell in terms of the academic side because she knew exactly what it was all about and could see her son being successful in our programs.
Yeah, and I think that's, it's a beautiful thing to see that and that connection. So, for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse to see where we're moving and where we're heading and what we're doing, let people know who don't know, when you have your season come out and whatnot, where can they watch you play, where's home and all of that, because I think that's important to share with people, because Bryant and Stratton has a unique situation of having a main campus on James Street on the hill there, so you don't have a court there on campus, and then you have other campuses like the one in Liverpool. So how can they go out and see your games for people that don't know?
Yep. So we'll play our home games at Tip Hill Community Center on 201 Hamilton Street. It's the same location that we were at last year. We're back there this year. It's again, it's kind of, if you're familiar with Syracuse, it's near Syracuse Academy of Science. It's about probably a 6 or 7 minute drive from Bryant and Stratton College. We dorm our students, and then we get them over there. We'll have a bus that brings them to practice every single day. But yes, we'll play our home games over there. 201 Hamilton Street, the Tip Hill Community Center, the same location that they're playing the Elite Basketball League at this summer.
And for you to have that connection with the Tip Hill location, how fruitful has that been? What do you think about that being your home venue?
We're really excited about it. Its location's huge. Obviously, we're contracting out, so it's nice that it's close. We don't have to drive 15 minutes away or anything like that. And then they have 2 courts as well, 2 hardwood courts, super nice gyms, which is super beneficial if both teams are practicing at the same time and things like that. And they're doing a great job over there. That I think they took over June 1st, I believe. But they're doing things like hosting the Elite Basketball League. I think Eric Devendorf is starting an AU program over there as well, ED 23 Elite Hoops. So he's in the building, which is pretty cool. They have a lot of D1 guys over there training, you know, when we pop over and show the gym. You know, Symir might be in the gym, Charles Pride might be in the gym, Eric might be in the gym. So it's just, again, you have some of the best basketball players in the central New York area at your facility in the summertime. And when you bring a guy in the gym and he sees that, he's like, yeah, this is where I can come and improve my game. You know, this is where the best players in this area are doing it. So I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, you know, and I know for me, growing up playing basketball all my life, that if you told me somebody was playing in the gym, like you say, oh, John Wallace was, you know, in this gym, you know, 5 days ago, 2 years ago, I would want to just dribble the ball on the same court as John Wallace, because there's something to that. There's something to history. It's so cool. And, you know, to make a prime example of that, you know, when I went to one of the camps at the Dome, Jim Boeheim's court, that main court that the team plays on, when you go to the Dome and you watch these men's and women's basketball games, when I was on the court and I was just kind of shooting around. I was at a big camp. There was like a ton of courts all throughout the Dome, and there was nobody on the main court. So I was there to interview some of the coaches, and I was, you know, kind of just shooting, dribbling, having a good time. And I always wanted, as a kid, to play on that court, and I envisioned that. So I'm out there dribbling and shooting, and I was like, I gotta really just enjoy every moment, and I felt it. And you just feel it in your body. And Dale Shackelford, the day I met Dale Shackelford, and he still remembers this, I shot it, the ball bounced out, and it was on the sideline by half court. Dale picked it up, and I put my hands out, and he passed it to me, and it took one bounce, and then it came over to me, and I said to myself, I have to make this shot. I have to. Because Dale, who played at Syracuse, I have to make this shot. So I went, I turned around, I shot like a little bit of a fadeaway from the right side of the free throw line. It went in, and I looked at Dale and I went, they got to change the stat book. You got one more stat on the Syracuse court. So I said, that's part of your stats now. I mean, we're in a college arena, so we got to count it. So I'll never forget moments like that, but that was a prime thing of like the court. It's like hollow ground, right? And so when you have your Eric Devendorfs and you have your Charles Prides and you have, you know, all these guys, you know, here Symir Torrance and whatnot, to me that's still hollow ground, right? That's still a beautiful, beautiful connection to the community. And I think, you know, I just saw Symir at Boeheim's Army, always smiles, you know, nice guy. I saw Devo there too, and Charles Pride and I connect a lot. So I think bringing them over and them being able to see that and see these guys go to work is a pretty incredible thing. And I mean, in our community alone, we got Devo here, we got Ryan Blackwell here, we got Griff, we got Autry, we got Jerry McNamara. There's a lot of guys that have stayed within the community, and there's guys like Charles Pride that come home. Symir Torrance came home. So, you know, in my opinion, Jimmy Boeheim was just back here. I think we're spoiled.
Definitely. It's definitely a lot of good basketball players and a lot of great people in the Syracuse community for sure. So it's nice that, you know, it says a lot about Syracuse that they do come home. You know, it's the support they get from, you watch the Boeheim's Army games, you see the support the crowd has for them, for those guys. It's something special.
Yeah, we needed it was an interesting game.
Yeah, it was.
I was there for both, so.
I can't believe that shot at the end. I mean, probably shouldn't have been in that situation. We were definitely beat up though. We're hurt. You know, some of our main guys, say DJ Kennedy, Kane. Is it DJ? DJ Kennedy?
Yeah, DJ Kennedy. Yeah.
Kane only played a minute. He came out in the first minute. That's like from what I've seen, I feel like he's like their energy guy, kind of their glue guy. Yeah. Obviously the championships those guys have. And then Ennis was out, but I was expecting for them to kind of show up. I mean, they went on a run late though, made it extremely interesting. I think the game finished was a 20-5 run.
Well,
I think that's what they said.
They were down by 22 at one point, and they came within 3. And so they brought it all the way down, and you know who you are. I'm not going to say it because we don't do personal things here on the show. We don't personally attack on the show. I'm just going to say this, okay? We know your swooping leg kick was not because you're in gymnastics and you're not in La Nuba or Cirque du Soleil.
That's crazy.
So, and you know, I guess he did his best Grayson Allen impression, but I really hope that you realize what you could have done. You don't do it again. I hope I never see it again. And I hope that you're a better person and a bigger person than that, because if you have to cheat to win, you will never truly succeed. And thank God you didn't connect with the leg of Andrew White III, who is somebody that, even if I didn't know him, I would say that's wrong. But I respect the guy. I know the guy. I've interviewed the guy. I've spent time around him. He was the last guy I talked to when I left the SRC Arena area over the weekend, which is Andrew White III. So thank God you didn't connect. You should publicly apologize, and you should not play this game with or without a suspension. You should keep yourself out of respect for the game of basketball.
Couldn't say it better myself. I mean, that was just crazy. I didn't catch it live. Kate actually caught it when we were watching. I was following the ball.
Yeah, I didn't catch a lot because like when you're,
that was crazy.
People don't get it when you're sitting, when we're sitting behind the basket, we don't always have the angle for that, right? Because like there's usually people sitting, so we're looking like forward here like this. We can't always see what's on the ground. Like that last corner shot, because there's people over there, I don't have a clear look at if that was a three, because where we're sitting at, you can't see it right there. So sometimes in the dome, you'll catch me looking at the game, looking up at the monitor, because I'm trying to see a little bit more. And I do feel like when I watch like an away game, and if I'm at home, that, I value being there, and I value being courtside, of course. And then there's an art too. When you're at home, you can actually see
everything
so much more. And I get why people scream at officials, but you have to understand, you're at home with replay. You're at home where they could slow it down. You're at home where you got the big picture. That official is seeing their angle. That is all that they're seeing. So, it's a different world. But yeah, I didn't get to see it live, and then like I saw it shortly after, and because somebody had said something to Matt Morgan about it, and I just kind of went on my phone and it popped up, and I saw this like full-on. I mean, he could have thrown his hip out the way that he threw his leg out.
It looked like Alex Gregorita on the soccer field back in the day, possibly.
Yeah, with him, like just leave it out and kick it out. But yeah, no, it was insane, and I'm just not a fan of. I mean, I played ball growing up, and I mean the amount of cheap shots that I took. There's this bony elbow kid. I don't remember his name because it's not important. But like, he had this, just his body was so bony, and whenever I would get to like the free throw line or try to come inside the 3-point line, he would just elbow.
Yeah.
So then I knocked him back finally after like taking 10 of them, and he ran over to one of the officials. He's like, he's hitting me. And then the guy comes over to me and he's talking to me, and I was like, dude, I've been taking this for like 20 minutes. Like, I'm not going to let him keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting world when, you have like those types of cheap shots. I remember coming around a pick, and there was a guy that was by far taller than me. He was over a head taller than me. And I'm coming underneath, and he goes to tap in between my legs. And I looked up at him and I went, are you serious?
Right.
I was like, dude, like, you have over a foot on me, and you're trying to knock me like down there. I do remember though, I went up for a rebound one time, and I had I don't know why I did it, but I had my closed fist in the air, and I punched somebody right in the face. And I remember looking at the kid, and he was like bigger than, and we're running down, and I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. And he looked at, I was like, dude, do you really think that I would mean it? Like, obviously I didn't laugh, I didn't do it, like, it was an honest mistake. We were going for the ball, but because I was never the cheap shot guy. And I remember I took a charge one time, and the ref called a foul on me because the place erupted. Because I just like closed my eyes, took the charge, and then when I got back up, my dad's like, you didn't feel it? I was kind of like, I don't know if I was out of it. I got up, and the kid knocked me back down, that I got the foul call for. And he knocked me back down when I was getting up, and the ref didn't see the charge, and he didn't see the kid elbow me back down to the ground. So I'm not a fan of cheap shots. I am not a fan. If you have to play the game that way, what you're admitting to me is you can't guard the person that you're guarding. So just either guard somebody else, or why don't you go get some pine for a second.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they say the ball doesn't lie, but it lied. It lied. that shot should have never went in. That guy didn't deserve to make that shot.
No, and it's crazy. It's crazy to see stuff like that in the game. I mean, how do you handle that as a coach? Like, when you see something, like, I want to know the art of the official. And I talk with people of all different sports with this, because you have to know when to pick your spots.
For sure.
And so how do you handle if and when to interject your emotion, and how do you handle the art of the official?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a learning process throughout. I mean, this will be my 6th season as a head coach. You know, my first couple years, I was, right in their ear early, getting animated and things like that. Like I said, I'm very competitive. I'm gonna be there wall to wall with my guys. But after the first couple seasons of head coaching, I realized it's a relationship. It starts from that first interaction. It starts from, the first time they see your team, whether it's in the stands, whether it's in warm-ups. Every little thing goes into, their impression of your team. So I think it starts by preparing in practice, honestly, like how you're going to warm up for a game, what the standards are in that warm-up, how you're going to, if the girls are playing first, how you're going to behave as a program. If they see you in the stands getting excited for the women's team before you and doing it in a respectful way, they're going to be more apt to like you. And then once they see your warm-up, is your warm-up organized? Is it disciplined? Are your guys serious? Are they connected? What are you doing? It's not just a layup line. I think it starts there. And then when it gets to me, obviously I'm introducing myself at the beginning before the game begins, trying to remember every ref's name, trying to develop a relationship. We're going to see them throughout the course of the season. And then when we're in, once tip-off begins, you're continuing to talk with them, and it can't just be the one call they miss. Like you said, it's a different perspective from what you see at home. They're going to make 10 great calls before they make that one bad call. And if you haven't said anything to them the entire game, and the fourth quarter they make a mistake because they're people and it's a bang bang play, and you get on them, guess what? They're gonna be like, really? I just did 3.5 quarters of great refereeing, and this is the first time we've conversated. So just kind of understand the importance of having a good relationship with them, being tapped in with them throughout the course of the game, whether it's good or bad, and not getting too excited too early, I think.
Yeah, and I think you brought a great perspective to it, that you were discussing the fact of how your layup line is, how disciplined your team is, that the officials are looking at that. They're looking at if you're at the women's game and how you are in the stands, and how are you treating them in the stands, and how are you as a fan, how are you as someone who's an onlooker. So, really what you expressed is they pay attention to the 360 and not just the couple hours that you're there playing the game. So that's a huge perspective of it, because I don't think every coach looks at it that way, and I don't think every fan looks at it that way. And I definitely didn't think about the layup line and that stuff, that they're looking at a coach saying, like, how disciplined is the coach? I would look at things too, like, how do they come to the game? Are they are they dressed up? Are they sloppy? Are they tucked in? Are they untucked? Do they look like they just woke up? How are they talking to their players? I think if I'm an official and I'm walking by somebody and it's F this and F that, I'm going, okay, all right, well, if this is their normal comfort level conversation language, God only knows what I'm going to get today. So I think, honestly, you made a big point, which is how you are as a coach at all times has a big message to the officials, which there were things that you said I wouldn't even have thought of.
Yeah, and just another point is your team sitting together in the stands? Are they spread out in the bleachers? So all those little details go into it, and it just falls back to the seriousness of the program. On game day, every day as a student athlete, the expectation in the program is to be a great representative of the college and the program. And again, the details matter. And refs are people. They will see you. They will make assumptions based off your behavior, and that will carry into the game. And again, we want to do everything we can to be young professionals, to be there and displaying our program, our school, our talents in a positive manner.
Right. So, is there a right time in that respect? This is a question that I never used to ask before, but it stays with me now. And I think you're the second coach to get this from me. But I like the question. I think I'm going to keep it.
Let's go.
Is there a right time to push? Is there a right time to get a technical? Is there a right time as a coach to to toe that line to either invigorate your guys, to let the official know that they can't walk all over you. Maybe it's an official that you don't have a relationship with. Maybe they look at you and they're 40, 50 years old. They're like, here's this young tyke. I'm going to teach him a 1-4. So,
Been there.
So is there a good time to kind of buck a little bit and get the technical to let the official know, like, listen, I'm here. You're not going to disrespect me, or to let your team know, like, you know what? You guys need energy, and I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, I definitely think there is. You have to know your team, though. Like, you have to know your team. How are they going to respond? And it can't be, it can't be like a ludicrous, like out of nowhere you swear at the ref. You have to understand what's going on in the game. You have to understand, okay, your guys need support. Your guys need to know that they have your back, that you have their back. And again, if the refs, they've been inconsistent throughout the game. They've missed, pivotal calls, a few in a row, and your guys are getting frustrated. It falls back to your team identity. They have to be able to trust that you're going to stick up for them, so they don't go out and try to do it themselves. And of course, when I was playing, I was always getting mad at the refs. My coach, again, that was kind of, my coach was trying to pull me in and things like that. It's natural when you're competing.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you're out there on an island and your coach isn't connected with you, then you're going to be frustrated. And again, a coach needs to step in at times. So that's the coach's responsibility, is to step in and have those conversations. And if you're upset with the way the game's being officiated, that's got to come from you as a coach, not your players. Your captains, yes, they can have a little bit of feedback and a little bit of conversation with the ref. And again, if they don't feel like they're getting, a great response, you got to have that relationship with your main players on the court, so they come to you. And when they come to you and you're on the same page, it's that coach's job to step in and say, let's go. I'm in this with you guys. Like, I got your back. Let's get the job done. We got a few minutes to grind out. Let's do it.
There was one coach that I had, and to this day, like, I think it was Coach Lou. I don't know if I've ever said his name on the show. Hi, Coach Lou. He was just a lot of things, and it's God's right to judge, not mine. So I'll just say Coach Lou was a person that I don't consider to be anyone I would have ever wanted to lead me anywhere, ever. And he was our coach my senior year of high school. And I found out, because I didn't chirp at refs, and there was stuff that was going on, and it was such a ridiculous, there was just a lot of ridiculous calls going on. And I was on the bench and I wasn't one of those kids like I was mad at coach because he wasn't playing me. I was upset with my coach for what he said and why I wasn't playing. Because he said, if you go in practice and you kill it in practice, you get after it in practice, you're going to see that in a game. Like, who gives my all in practice, those minutes are going to happen in a game. And there was a time where I'm like 6 for 10 from 3, and I'm just shoot, looking at him, shoot, looking at him, and he's not paying any attention, and oh, good job, Danny. And basically put it to you like this. He kicked me off the team at the end of the season. When he said something ridiculous to me, I stuck up for myself. And I didn't swear, I just stuck up for myself, and kicked me off the team. Last game of the regular season, right before playoffs. Then he called me and he goes, "Where have you been?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you haven't been to practice. I need you to practice." I said, "Did you not remember the conversation where you kicked me off the team?" He's like, "But you're he's like, "But you're there, you're there practice, you're there all the way through, you're like the last one to leave, you're my morale guy, you bring everybody up." And I said, "Oh, you want to compliment me now? You want to compliment me now? You want to tell me that I'm valuable now to this team?" And I just remember one of the games, I was on the bench, of course, and the game was just ridiculous. And this official, I mean, you could have slapped one of our players in the face and they weren't going to call it. So I started yelling from the bench, and then I did it again. And then my buddy said to me, he goes, "Yo, chill." I said, "What?" He goes, if you keep doing this to the officials, then we'll get a technical." And he goes, "But the technical goes to coach." And I looked at him and I smiled, and and I was like, "I'm gonna say more now because I want to get our coach kicked out of this game." But no, but that's a definition of a coach that wasn't there for you. Right? Yeah. And we were the number 1 seed, to paint a picture, and we played here in the community, so we were the number 1 seed. There was 8 seeds, and We were number one on our side. We had killed it pretty much all year. We might have had maybe 3 losses, 2 losses. And when we got to the playoffs, at halftime, we came out a little sluggish, whatever. At halftime, Coach Lou comes in, and he's like, I'm like, is there going to be a speech? Like, what is this guy doing? Now I'm already not happy because now he's put me back onto the team, but he lied to my face and didn't do what he told me he was going to do when I came back.
Right.
So now I've been reinstated. He's still lying, and he says to me, or he says to the whole team, don't embarrass me. I made this team. Don't embarrass. And I looked at him. He walks out. I put my foot on the bench, and I looked at everybody. I was like, is anybody else tired of this? And you kind of wonder like who's going to talk because there's like his favorites obviously are there. And I said, I'm sorry, but I don't remember Coach playing a minute on the court. And he said that he made this team, and he's the reason why we're here. And honestly, we went out in the second half, and we just like gave him almost nothing, and we lost because we didn't want to win for him. We didn't want him to take credit for another victory. And I still look back on that day saying, I wish that, because he didn't even let me get out there, but I wish that we didn't do that as a team. And I also would have loved if he would have just stepped away. But that's a definition of, this is like the Jerry Springer tell-all, but it's a definition of the opposite of the type of coach that you want to be. He wasn't for us. He didn't defend us. He wasn't there for us. He lied to some of us, and he only cared about his personal success. And to this day, it's funny because they'll call me up and they'll be like, hey, you want to come see one of the games? Want to come back to the gym? And I'm like, is Coach Lou still there? And they're like, yep. I said, call me when he retires. And I don't think any of us have gone. I think the majority of us have probably not gone back.
Yeah,
but we all love each other. Like our team, our guys, like our actual Ryan Agricola and like all these, Matt Casalia, James Lynch, like we all know each other and we still are friends with each other. And if we saw each other, we'd still hug each other and laugh and have a great time. So that tells you something about our coach, is we still love each other, but we don't involve ourselves with him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, that was a lot, and it makes a lot of sense why you won it.
I PG'd that thing too.
Yeah. for me, again, like I'm trying to do the opposite. Like I really think I'm going to be a coach guys want to play for and compete for, because when push comes to shove, you know, things are going to be tough on the court, and you know, if guys aren't connected, you know, they're going to fold. So, you know, I think it falls back to, you know, leading by supporting your words with actions, and if you do that, you're going to have the respect of your group, and that's where that really comes from. If your team respects you, you know, you're not lying to them, you're not giving them false promises. Like if we recruit a guy and they're, you know, the bottom of the roster, you can't be telling that guy that he's going to be playing X amount of minutes throughout the course of the season. You have to be straight up, like, listen, we got a roster spot available, this is what the expectation is, and then from there, this could possibly grow, but you have to kind of exceed in that expectation before we even have that conversation. And again, it just falls back to just being honest with your guys and leading by example every single day. And if you do that, you're going to have a connected group and be able to take care of business.
Well, that's the thing, like when I got called D3 and it was coming off of that season, I was so bitter and I was so upset that the coach that called me, I was like, I don't know. He's like, oh, well, you know, even if you don't play this year, like at least come run with us, like come see if you like it, get around the guys. Yeah. And I told him, I said, like, it's no offense to you, but I'm just like, I was in a place at that point where I was so hurt because I love the game so deeply. And when somebody makes you not like something that you love, like that to me is a sign. So it's imperative for you as a coach, is like, because this is like a telltale thing, is like, and by the way, I mean, looking into the camera, like Coach Lou, I hope you're well. I hope you're healthy, safe, and happy. I hope your family and all your loved ones are. You know, and maybe you're a different coach, and I hope you are, and maybe you learn, and people can change, and I hope you did. And I would love to get around you and have a positive place. I don't hold any grudges at all. It's just, when that's your experience, right? And when you have these guys at Bryant and Stratton, you have them for a finite amount of time, And once that's gone, that's it.
Right.
And so, like, who you are as a coach, I mean, you got to feel the weight of, to some of these guys, you're their big brother, you're their uncle, you're their dad. To some of these people, you're the only father figure they might have. And to some of them, even if they have, parents at home and they have, teachers and all this, you might be the only positive voice that they hear.
Right.
So I don't know if you feel that, but do you feel the weight of the fact that when you're a coach, you're never just a coach?
Absolutely. Just kind of falling back to my college, playing days and being a collegiate athlete, it was, one of the best times of my life. And, one of the things I like to share with my players, with my teams, is that you're not going to have this opportunity 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Like that, this is, like you said, there's a timeline. Like this isn't going to last forever. And there's literally nothing like it. Like to be part of a team, a collegiate team, and to play a sport you love with people that you're going to grow extremely close with and stay connected to the rest of your life. Like my college teammates are, my closest friends, and we stay connected, kind of like you said, with your teammates from high school. And it's not going to last forever. So while you're here, while you're part of this team, while you're part of this college, it just goes back to what I'm asking. I'm asking for full commitment. If you're doing this, we're asking a lot, but it's going to be worth it if you give everything that you have. And if you're, in it and you're giving 50%, and I understand frustrations and things of that nature, but you don't truly love it if you have an opportunity like this and you're not giving it, your all. So it's just, again, it falls back to just appreciating and being grateful and having gratitude for the opportunity. And if you do that, it's going to be the best experience of your life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I still love it. Like I still love it. Like he didn't take the love away from that for me. There's no play, there's no moment, there's no injury, there's nothing that made me stop loving the game. And to this day, there's 3 things that I know I could shut my brain off to and be completely at peace with whatever's going on in my life. And that's there's 4 things. Washing the dishes, cooking, music, and playing basketball. Yeah. Like when I'm on the court, I don't think, and I know you and I have talked about it, but we should go out, and I mean, I got an outdoor one that's by me, but we should just go out to the court and shoot.
I'm down.
Because I love like the conversation and just kind of like playing the game, and I love to just feel it and to just do it. And still, like a kid, my favorite shot I think is the most difficult shot on the floor, but it's the first 3 I ever remember like making a lot of, and that's the corner 3.
Oh yeah.
And in the corner, I mean, you don't have the backboard. I mean, sometimes you could, or some accidentally hit it, but you got to shoot straight on. You got to know your distance. You got to drop it straight through. You got to know what you're doing. And I would just go to the court just like all the time and just shoot. And I loved that. And last time I was on the court right by where I'm at, I was there with the lady, and I said, I was like, I got to make this before I go home. I was going to end on a make. And I was like, I got to make this before I leave. And I went to the corner. I went to the left corner, and it was on the outdoor court, and I shot it up in the air, and it dropped straight through. And I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm not touching anything.
Yeah.
I made the first one. I'm good. But if you watch me, I will shoot all those shots, and I'll want to make them all. And I've always been somebody who can shoot from anywhere. That's something that like I worked at. God gave it to me, and I pushed at it. And then I had to teach myself to like cardio, run, because I didn't like doing that as a kid. But that corner 3, if you see me miss a bunch of those, I will get probably that, and free throws is the most serious you're going to see me on the court, because I don't believe that I should ever miss a free throw, and I take that very personally. And if you follow me on Twitter at CallDT during any game, and there's a team just missing charity stripe shots, 99.9% of the time, I will write at least one thing about it. And I've been writing for years, like hashtag free throws matter. I've been writing that for probably almost 10 years now. Yeah. But like, I love just going out into court and shutting my brain off. And some people like golf. To me, basketball, like you and I out there, just shooting, talk about life, shooting. It's just, I love doing it. And it's one of the only times I can like clear my brain to a blank slate and just be. Because I could tell you for a fact, and I don't know if you felt this when you played, if you think on the court during a game, you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You got to shut your brain off. You prepare as much as you can, and then you just shut it off. I'll never forget, I hit 2 threes in a row, and I got us down to within 2, and I shot the third one, and right before I shot it, I thought, I got to make it. And as soon as it left my hand, I said, it's going right, because I knew it was. I knew it was off, because I was so in my brain. Where the first 2, I was like, let them fly. I was like, because it was that season, I think, and I was like, well, coach almost never lets me get out here, so if I got a shot, I'm going to take it. If it's the right one to take, if I see somebody underneath, I'm going to pass it. But, I took the shot, made it, took the shot, made it. Oh, no, this was a couple of years before, because my coach broke his watch. He's like, I broke my watch, like cheering so loud, and I'll never forget, he goes, even you played good, Danny. And I went, I'm not listening to anything this guy says for the rest of my life. Like, even you? And we had this line of coaches, but then one of them redeemed himself because the year after he was our coach, he was in the stands for his son. And every time I got out there, he would just be like, you get the ball, shoot it. Like, he believed. I didn't realize how much he believed in me until he wasn't my coach. And he would, like, one day I wasn't shooting, he grabbed my pant leg and he, like, pulled on my leg and he goes, I was jogging down by the fans, and he grabs my shorts and he goes, hey, why aren't you shooting? He goes, shoot it.
I love it, yeah.
And I still to this day, I'm like, he was one of my best coaches, but it was like after he was my coach that he really showed his support for me.
Okay.
And I just feel like, because he would sit in the stands and it was almost like from a different angle, or maybe he just never told me, but he's like, hey, he goes, you get the ball, you shoot it. And then his son that was playing, he passed me the ball and he'd go, shoot it. And I passed it back, he's like, shoot it right now, because I get frustrated at times because of the team we were on. And so he passed me the ball, and this might have been the game I got that I was talking about before, passes me the ball. And he goes, and Matt, he goes, I watch, he goes, shoot the ball. He goes, you know you can. And he was one of the guys that told me, like, keep your confidence, like, you know you can.
Yeah.
I know you can. And he was one of our best players, and he passed me the ball, and I launched it. And I was closer to half court than I was to the 3, and everybody went, oh, no, no, and my dad was like, no, and then it went in, and everybody was like, ah, so, and I looked at my coach, and I did this, I did the Jordan, I did
Why not?
But, yeah, so I won't forget moments like that, but coaches that didn't do well, they stay with you, and the coaches like Coach Casalia, I'll never forget him pulling on my pants going, do it, shoot it.
Right.
You got this.
Yeah.
And like to this day, I feel like if I needed a boost of confidence, not even in basketball and anything, I could just think about when he tugged on me.
Yeah, from a coaching perspective, giving confidence to a shooter is one of the best things you can do. I mean, there's a kid we're bringing in this year that, I was talking to him after a recruiting event, and I was like, literally every time you shoot the basketball, I think it's going in. I was like, outside of JJ Redick, when he's at Duke, and Steph Curry right now, there's not a single player that I say that about.
Yeah.
And like, just giving a kid that, and you saw him light up, and he's a pure shooter, and I'm just really excited to coach him this upcoming season. The confidence is so huge, and just to your point, like, either positive or negative, the impact that coaches have on their athletes is life lasting. There's kids that I coached at Shazy 5 years ago now. He reaches out when he's in Syracuse trying to grab lunch and things like that. I ran into one at Wegmans. He's going to ESF right now. Just had a conversation with him a few weeks ago, and we connect from 5 years ago, being on the court, being in the gym. So just for coaches out there, obviously, just don't take that for granted. Try to make the biggest, most positive impact you can on your student athletes, and make it fun. Obviously, you want to win and you want to compete, but that's not what it's all about. And you never want to talk negatively about a student, about an athlete. You want to try to build them up. So whether you're out there, competing for a national championship, or you have a modified game that's just about participation and developing, you gotta try to find a way to connect with your team on a positive level. And if you do leave a negative impression, you take away if you make a kid that loves the sport, like Dan was talking about, you know, kind of regret it and have a little like, you know, make them not want to play it and they love it, you got to really reevaluate yourself and what you're doing, because, you know, every kid that's in sports, all their experiences matter for the rest of their life. So if you're in coaching, do it for the right reasons, and that's about building kids up and trying to make positive impact.
Yeah, you know, and tough love is, you know, people forget a lot. I feel like people that they say they're giving tough love, they're giving the tough part of it. They're not giving the love. Right? Go to somebody, talk to your player. Hey, you can't do that. You got to get out of your head. We got to work this out.
Right.
But then when you do that, you bring that positive, you bring that love. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on with you right now. Your head's not in the game. Sit on the bench, and then you go over to him at a timeout and say, hey, listen, okay? I don't know what it is. I don't know what's up. You can tell me after the game, but I need you to lock in. I need you to let it go. Like, I care about you. I need you. Because you have that moment where you're like, get your head in the game. But if that's all you say to him, like my dad, when we were playing golf, my dad goes, you got to square your hips up. I go, well, show me what I need to do. He goes, square them up. Just square them up. I'm like, well, obviously I'm not doing it. So come up here and just show me what you like. So to tell a kid, like, get your head in the game, it's not good enough. It's, you know, it's like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Or maybe you do. Maybe you say, hey, you know, I know your mom just went to the hospital this week. I know you're nervous about it. But if she was here in the stands right now, what do you think she'd want to see? She wants you to mope around. She wants you to give it your all. You know, what do you think mom would want from you right now? Know how to reach them. Show them that they matter to you personally. Understand them. Because if you're a coach, and people say, well, I have 85 players on my college football roster and I don't know how to connect. If I was a coach of a college football team, my job would be to know bare minimum 85 things. Because that would mean that I know one thing about all 85 players.
Right.
So I would think as a coach, you should know something about everybody on your team, because when push comes to shove and they need you, you need to personalize it. And if you don't, then I don't foresee a coach winning a championship if he only is close to 3 of his 14 guys.
Yeah, 100%. It comes down to relationships. You know, why are they here is a good place to start. You know why, you know, they choose Bryant Stratton, why they started playing basketball, what's basketball mean to them, what's their family life like. You know, it's just, again, that starts in the recruiting process for us. You gotta get to know your players, because when they come, they're people, and, you know, you need to be able to connect with those people for them to have the most positive experience possible.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, it's everything in life. It's business, it's sports, it's, you know, having a show and talking. It's relationships, right?
Yep.
People work with who they want to work with. They play for who they want to play for. They sit next to who they want to sit next to. They break bread with who they want to break bread with. There are parts in your life that you won't be able to control the people that are around you, and there's parts in your life where you can control who you spend time with. And I say to my mom, like, I've learned the value of when I get to choose who I choose. You know? Because when you're sitting on press row at a game, right? Those people are there and you're all there to do a job, and you don't choose that, right? You don't choose the room of 30, 40, you know, in the case like the Big East tournament, 300 people, right? Or at the ACC, there were 700 of us. So you don't choose that. But I chose Clay to sit here today. So when you can choose wisely.
Absolutely.
Because there's enough of your life that's going to be spent around people where you're like, I don't know if I would have eaten dinner with this guy. But, you know, but then when you do get to eat dinner, who are you eating dinner with? And it's so valuable to know that. You want to get talent. You want to win championships. But you got to think, as a good coach, what do they want? Yeah. What do they want from you? If you're only looking, and this is anything, professional, personal, romantic, friendship, whatever it is, in any relationship, if you only look at what you're getting out of it, you're eventually going to lose the other side of it, because you're only looking at how you gain, but you're not thinking from their perspective what they get out of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and, you know, it's kind of interesting, because, you know, in today's day and age, you know, I guess clout is the term. Like, kids want to look good on social media and stuff like that. And, you know, what's nice about being a college coach is we're recruiting. Like, we get to pick who comes into our programs. And like I kind of mentioned earlier, it falls back to developing that relationship and figuring out that person.
Yeah.
Like, is this person really all in? Is this person really willing to sacrifice to be the best student, the best person, the best basketball player that they can be? And, you know, for me, again, going back to my recruiting, I'm trying to figure that out, and I want them to check all three of those boxes. Because if you bring in kids that just want to look good, just want to have a nice highlight reel, just want to be the leading scorer, they're going to be selfish. And, you know, selfish individuals aren't going to make for the best team. And again, that's only going to lead so far. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
But it's true.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a great. Well, I tell people all the time, if you want to play sports, you want to be selfish, play tennis, play golf, play a sport where you're by yourself, right? You know, but at the end of the day, right, if you're playing tennis, eventually you got to learn how to play nice with people because, you know, maybe you have somebody that's bringing you from the court back to the facility. If you're playing golf, you got to be nice to your caddy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, even when you try to be alone, are you ever alone? And if you don't have good people skills, you're not going to be successful. And they say, well, Dan, you know, look at, you know, somebody might say, well, look at Bill Belichick, he looks miserable. But is he that way with his players?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he might be that way with the media, he might be that way with, you know, people in traffic, but is he that way with his players? I don't know. But like Nick Saban, right? People think, oh my God, it's Nick Saban. But I can tell you, like, so I've interviewed Nick Saban, I've interviewed Dabo Swinney. I can tell you, spending many years interviewing Dabo, almost a decade, and just interviewing him a few days ago, and I was listening to him on Sirius Radio actually, and yesterday, and he said it from ACC. It was one of the interview sessions that I was in the TV room, and this was probably done somewhere else, and he was talking about what matters to him and like his pillars, and he said like, all glory to God first and foremost, and then he went from there. And he's stayed that guy. And I can honestly tell you, no matter how many championships he wins, how many awards he gets, how many accolades, how many people come to media days just to see him, how much money they pay him, I always, 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 always hear Dabo Swinney say, it's God's, I thank him, this belongs to him, I give him the credit, now let's talk about my guys. And he very rarely talks about himself. And so that's a definition. Look at this coach. 6 straight trips to the college football playoff, and how many they've won, and what they've done against Alabama. I think they said they're like 2-1 against Alabama.
They don't do official visits either, do they? I thought he gave like those for college football. Do those occur like during the spring?
For what? The officials?
Yeah, for officials.
So yeah, so you could take your
like he basically like scheduled like his. I guess the way it works, like, so his staff has like a certain amount of time off, so they can focus on their families. And I thought it was like that they didn't have official visits because of it, right? Am I right there?
I gotta look into more of like how he handles
I'll
the
share
officials.
a podcast with you that I listen to, but he
Yeah,
gives me an interview. It's kind of cool.
But he is so different,
So
right?
family oriented.
And it's funny because they asked him about Tony Elliott, and he said, so Tony Elliott was his offensive coordinator. And now he's the head coach of Virginia, and I just got to meet him for the first time. And so Tony, in a different shade of orange, but still orange at Virginia. But, you know, Dabo said, he said, I told him he had to take this. Because I told him this was the right fit. And it wasn't Dabo saying, like, I said it so it needs to happen. It was like, we have it sounded like it was like, hey, we're friends, we talk, and I told him of everything that he could have gotten, like this is the right one. And then then I asked Tony Elliott about Dabo and all the positives that come from that. And then you see Brett Venables, who's at Oklahoma now. Like, Dabo, and the thing is, when Dabo, and I wasn't here for this, but I wasn't covering Clemson at the time, when Dabo became the head coach, he was the wide receivers coach. And he was, when he got announced as the head coach, he was at a press conference, and he said, we're going to create a winning culture here. Like, we're going to win here. Like, we're going to win championships. Like, we're going to do this. And he said that people laughed. You know, and I thought it was funny to bring it full circle. They had a 10-3 record this season. And one of his players stood at the podium and looked over at Dabo, and he goes, hey, he's like, according to everybody, he's like, you know, he was supposed to get fired for going 10-3 because he had a bad year. He's like, we were getting ready to pack up coach's office and get him moving on down the road. And so they all just kind of made a joke of it. But, there's people like Dabo that you see this extreme success, but then you see this like calm guy who answers questions, who keeps his composure, who believes in God, and who picks and chooses his time on where he uses his energy. And what an incredible leader. Right. And you see him win that way. And I know you're a fiery guy, and I know that like as nice and as calm as you are when you're here on the show, you want to win, and like you have that inside of you. And I feel like you don't like yell out of anger, you just get louder and louder because you're so amped. But I see that like in your face that you get really, so I gotta ask you, like when you come home to Kate and to Cleo, do you have to like bring your stuff down? Like when you're at a game and you're like up,
Oh, yeah,
do they see you like come down for an hour?
Oh, the coming down, the unwinding process after a game is usually a day and a half at least, I would say. I mean, we're going to bed that night talking about the game, and it's definitely the play-by-play is going through your mind. Doesn't matter if it's a big win or a tough loss or anything like that. The unwinding after games it's a process for sure. So I'm getting better at it, but it takes some time. I mean, I'm definitely into it. So
do you come off of a game like when you get a big win, are you extremely happy, or do you always come off of a game like, how does your brain go? Do you always come off a win saying I could be better, off a loss I could be better, or do you come off of something saying like, hey, good win, we did it? Like, what is your, and we're going to save this for after the fast break, so don't answer it, but what is your self-talk is what we're going to talk about, and we'll do that right after this. Inside of Cafe Kubal on 324 West Water Street in Syracuse, New York at Creek Walk Commons.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Syracuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacted the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of Cafe Kubal. Happy to be here with you, and of course the Cafe Kubal Studios is where we hail from every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets life. Today we are at Cafe Kubal on 324 West Water Street in Syracuse, New York, aka the Creek Walk Commons, aka the place where sometimes the meters work and sometimes they don't. So very excited to be out here with you, and I love being here at Cafe Kubal. I love my chai. I love these cups. So I have a refillable one as well, but I love my Cafe Kubal cups. We're gonna get you a refillable mug here. Yeah, they're really, really nice.
Time for sure.
So you got your big old cup today, but make sure you get your chai, your coffee, your tea, all the good stuff here at Cafe Kubal. Support local, support the community. I love this story. I look at what Matt Goddard has done, the owner, operator, and creator of Cafe Kubal. He started by making coffee in his parents' basement.
Oh, wow.
And now he has multiple locations and a website that'll send the Cafe Kubal products wherever you are, because I know we got a bunch of people out of state as well. So go to cafekubal.com. That's Kubal. 343 Bay Street, Manlius. as well as corner Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse at their drive-thru. You can find them at 401 South Salina Street, 3501 James Street, and of course 324 West Water Street here in Syracuse, New York. Here at Clay Gagen-Sherman, the head coach of the men's basketball team for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, where Wake Up Call is their proud exclusive multimedia marketing partner. And thanks to the entire team, thanks to Aaron and Tay and Nick and Alex and Sean and this gentleman right here, Mr. Clay Gagen-Sherman, and to all of the administration at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Can't thank you all enough. And what can you say, about the administration and that side of it? Because they don't always get the love that they deserve, but I know that when we were having our meetings about the partnership, that we had representation there.
Yeah, we have great leadership at Bryant and Stratton. Some phenomenal people that really put everything they have into it and, lead by example. Shout out to all of them. It's definitely a great place to work. A big family in itself. So really happy to be a Bobcat. And again, just Bryant and Stratton has great leadership.
Absolutely. So big time shout out to the leadership. Before I let you go, take a look at the grander scheme of things, because I know that you always have, your eyes and ears to what's going on collegiately. Name, image, and likeness, transfer portal, realignment. Let's hit NIL first. What are your because Aaron Hackett's going to be on the show this week talking about NIL in a really special way, the former tight end for Syracuse football. So what can you say about name, image, and likeness, and what your thoughts are about it?
I think it's definitely changed things. I mean, it's a huge opportunity for student athletes, and I think deservedly so. Universities have been making tons of money for a long time off student athletes, and I think it's a great thing for student athletes to be able to profit off their name, and image, and likeness, and gives them an opportunity to create a brand for themselves, or a brand through themselves. It gives them an opportunity to, again, make some money to have while they're in school. Some guys, most collegiate athletes aren't going to go on and make millions professionally, and this may be the biggest stage they have. So it's a huge opportunity for them to take advantage of that platform and really, make money to do something with. Again, just take full advantage of where they're at right now. So again, I think it's a huge opportunity for student athletes, and again, it's going to benefit them in the long run.
You just need some rules and regulations. States are different, rules are different, collectives basically take all the illegality of it and let it be legal. Just have a bunch of boosters throw money into an account, and then you can just take out of the account. And of course, it's doing the one thing that we all knew it was going to do, and I don't know why anybody's surprised, but it's being used as a recruiting tool now.
Right.
So, and even at, it's not just Division I. I talked to a coach at the Division II level that said to me the second question he's asked when he is bringing in kids looking for, to build to his program, the second question that he's gotten more often than not is, what's the NIL deals like here? Like, what can I get here type of thing. Right. So they come in, they talk to them. Second question out of their mouth is, what's the NIL situation like at this college? And if I'm a coach, that's not what I want your second question to be.
Absolutely.
And, I'm hoping your first question's a pretty good one, if that's your second one. But, I do believe that, the NCAA has made money hand over fist from these players in the past, so there's a way to do it, but we have to keep the integrity of the game, and we have to stop letting the haves have more and the have-nots have less.
That's true.
And there has to be regulation, because, there are so many issues. And I was talking to Cody Roscoe, who played on the defensive line for Syracuse, now trying to make it in the NFL. Go check out Cody Roscoe. To all 32 NFL teams, XFL, CFL, USFL, sign Cody Roscoe up. Good kid. But I gave him an analogy, and he's like, I didn't even think about that. And I was like, you're playing the game, and you didn't even think about what it could do to your locker room? But it's like, you just think about, there's so many angles that just because you thought it, somebody else didn't. But I always try to find, because I think for everything created in this world, it can be used for good or for evil. And that there's nothing in this world that you can't use for either or. Right. And people say, okay, Dan, prove it. And I say, okay, toothpick. You can use a toothpick to pick something up. You can use it to pick something out of your teeth, or you can use it to poke somebody's eye. If something as simple as a toothpick can be used good or bad, then look at NIL. You have to play devil's advocate You have to find all the problems with it to the best of your ability before you put it out there, so that you can find the perceived problem to find the perceived solution.
Absolutely.
And they didn't look for any solutions. It was just like, oh, California passed a bill. I guess we're all screwed unless we do it too. And California, shame on them for starting it, because they left everybody, like, if the NCAA didn't allow all the states to, if they didn't create this temporary rule where like all states could be open to it, then California could have been the only one paying athletes. So then you could have saw an influx going to Stanford and UCLA and USC, and that affecting everybody. So it's a weird system. It came from a state that charges $6 for gas on a good day. So I think we should, it's not a bad thing, but we didn't have the perceived problems and solutions set up ahead of time. And everything we're going through right now, I'm just kind of sitting back going like, in what world did you guys not see this happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's a cover for what was already really going on at the highest levels.
I think Dabo said it. I think he said it at ACC kickoff. Pretty sure he did it. If you didn't, Dabo, my apologies for saying it. But one of the coaches said it was like, it's making legal everything that was illegal.
Right.
Because essentially, like, everybody cheated, but now they can get away with it. And it's just like, so true and so crazy. And it makes you think about all the places that would have tried to do this behind the scenes, and it's like, now that they could do it in front of your face, how bad is it going to get? So, it just makes you think about some things. But transfer portal, you're utilizing it in USCAA. What do you think about the transfer portal? The fact that you can transfer one time and be eligible immediately, and they're trying to pass legislation right now that you can transfer as many times as you want with no restrictions. What do you think of the one-time transfer play immediately rule? And would you be for or against a transfer rule that would allow NCAA players to play immediately, even if they went to 4 schools in 4 years?
So for the one transfer, it's changed a lot. Even just that, it gives the student athlete a little more power in a sense. They can obviously go and play somewhere else immediately.
Yeah. There's no list anymore. Like, a coach can't tell you where you can't play. Right. So that's a part of that too, is you can go in conference now.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if I'm a huge, fan of it. I mean, I guess it's good because, student athletes should have options, but you do lose something from them not having to stick out adversity. Yeah. I definitely believe that. So there, it's obviously, as a student athlete, you can't hate it, because at the end of the day, if you don't like it somewhere, you can go and try somewhere else. And from a coaching side, it does give, on the counter side to that, it does give coaches options to go out and improve their rosters immediately. So I guess I'd say I'm in support of it for the one-time sort of deal. The unlimited amount of transfers, I think that's kind of crazy, because then kids are just going to be bouncing around, and coaches are going to be promising things, and
teach a generation that doesn't get told that they need to be responsible.
Right.
Not that they're not, but in today's world, growing up as a kid, you're taught to not be responsible by culture in America, not by your parents, God willing, but the culture of today tells you don't be responsible, and if you get to go 4 places in 4 years, you don't have to be responsible.
Right.
And you're not learning how to keep your word. You're not learning how to be a team player. You're learning how to be selfish. You're learning how to only think about you, do what you want, go where you want. Take the easy way out. Yeah. I look at Tate Martell. Left Ohio State when they brought in Justin Fields, and then went down to Miami, got a waiver to play immediately. How? We got a waiver to play immediately, and he ran away from competition and what happened in Miami. He got outdone, and so where are you going to go now? You're going to keep going? So it's like Tate leaves Ohio State, and Tate, I'm not trying to like witch hunt you. I'm using it as an example. He leaves Ohio State, runs away from the competition, thinks, okay, I'm going to go here and play immediately, and then in the competition, you're outdone. Right. So you ran away from it, now you're faced it again. Now what are you going to do? Right. You're going to keep running for the rest of your life?
Yeah. The grass definitely isn't always greener, and sometimes the lessons that you get through sticking out adversity are just worth more than bouncing around trying to find the best fit by taking the easy road.
Adversity builds character. You cannot become the person you're meant to be without adversity. Without pressure, there are no diamonds. Like, it's reality, folks. You need to go through it. Like, if you want to get a tan, you got to get in the sun and you got to get hot, right? You got to get uncomfortable for a little bit. Nothing that you're going after in your life is going to be worthwhile unless you have to fight. You got to fight for it.
Absolutely.
And you learn, I mean, I learn in the fight if you love it or if you think you love it. And I tell people this all the time. You will learn quickly, romantically, friendship, just whether or not you want to be a parent, right? You're watching your nephew for the week or whatever it may be. Whatever it is in life, coaching, with your dreams, you learn if you love it or if you think you love it. There is that you think that they're the same and they look the same, but something in your life will show you if you really love something or if you think you love something. Like, I love what I do. Nobody's gonna stop me, you know? But if you're ever in a place where you're like, man, I'm gonna do this job, and then you get knocked down on your butt, and you're like, whatever, dude, I don't need this job, then you didn't love it, you know? And
Right.
if you're in a relationship and there's adversity, right? You gotta deal with long distance, you gotta deal with this person's got this job, or our schedules can't. I know I have friends that, like, their schedules are the opposite, but it's like, if you want it, you fight for it. And if a kid can transfer his entire collegiate career, her entire collegiate career, then what you're teaching them is, when you got to fight for something, run.
Yeah.
And those are going to create horrible people in society. Like, there are parents right now that I want to sit down and go, why did you make us have to deal with your children? Like, I'll be on the road and I'm like, why is your kid, why did you do this to us? Like, you didn't raise him, I'm not going to raise him. And now I'm sitting on the road with him. Now I'm standing in line behind him. Like, there's just people that I want to sit their parents down and go, why did you do this to us? To all of us. The whole world, your kid is now our problem. And it's like, well, you know, I didn't want to deal with him. I didn't want to reprimand him, so here you go. And it's like, and I knew a girl like that. I was dating somebody, her sister. Her parents were afraid of her. And they told her whatever they needed to tell her to make sure that she wouldn't stop talking to them. They never wanted to be on her bad side. And I saw what that created, and I was like,
Scary world.
why did you give us that? She walked backwards into New York City traffic yelling in front of a taxi cab.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, somebody made that, raised that, and left it here. So like you gotta do better, folks, okay? If you're gonna have them, you gotta raise them. So that's what and I think personal responsibility is a big part of that. My parents would never condone me going to 4 schools in 4 years, because you don't have 4, I mean, you're not gonna, the chances of you having like 4 coaches that are just, that you're unable to work with, I mean, at what point do you look at a runner saying you just run?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to look at that. Last thing, realignment. I have a lot of theories on it, a lot of thoughts on it. Been saying things for a long time. There's a college realignment video that I put up with a map. Okay. I became somewhat of a geography major, I guess, in this world. But even though the Big Ten is not, and we talked about a lot of different things. So what are your thoughts on realignment? There's going to be a lot of things coming up, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
So, but we know the Big Ten is in the Midwest, and they have this cloud here pushing in the Atlantic. Then they went out to California. The SEC has stayed in the South. The American Athletic has stayed in the almost same region, a little bit higher, and the Sun Belt stayed there. My argument is the Sun Belt and the American will make it through all of this because they've taken a page out of the SEC's book, and they're in a lot of the same states. The Big Ten's just going after whatever. The Big 12 could have died, it didn't. Pac-12 could die now, it hasn't yet. And the ACC is just sitting, waiting, making me kind of concerned because I love the ACC, and I think the worst action is inaction. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, so the first thing though, like everything is basically predicated on the football business, right? Like that's kind of where the start, it's college athletics business.
You think it's about basketball, but it's not. Because
Right.
all of these moves, they're only talking about the football pedigree. Like, this is where this football team goes. You're not like, because Florida's basketball team, you know, like USC's basketball team, maybe they make the tournament, maybe they're a last team in. Like, the teams that are bouncing around, like Houston's got a good basketball team that nobody talks about.
Right.
Cincinnati's got a pretty good basketball team.
UCLA.
So I mean, but these are moves where we're just looking at football.
Right.
Because if you didn't see it before, it's a decade ago when there was giant realignment. If you didn't know then, you better know now. These are moves that are being made for football.
Right. And are they looking? Do you think that they're looking to make the two power conferences for football for postseason play?
I said I've been saying for a while, probably about a year ago, if not more than a year ago, that I think the SEC is going to break off to its own league.
Right.
And because they have too much, and I think they're going to go to 20. I do. I would prognosticate that they at least are going to tickle the Clemson, Florida State, see where that's at, and maybe play a little bit. I don't know how the North Carolina thing would work because I do, but Miami. I don't think Miami's got loyalty because we saw what they did at the Big East.
Right.
I don't think Louisville has any loyalty. They've been in 1,000 different conferences, and I'm thinking of you, Rick Pitino. And so, because you told me you weren't moving, bro. It's my face. But first time I ever interviewed him, he was like, "Yeah, I think we're good. I think realignment's calming down. We like where we are." The next year, following Syracuse to the ACC.
Right.
But so, I mean, I don't think. I think Louisville bounced around a lot. Miami, I don't see them having loyalty. Florida State, if they get rid of these rivalry games, because you play 12 games a year, and the SEC's already have 16. You're not going to play these people, so you're not going to play non-conference games. So unless you bring in Florida State for Florida and you bring in Clemson for South Carolina, those rivalries go away.
Right.
So I could see them being advantageous in that respect. Keep in mind, if the SEC gets Clemson, they will have Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama, and then fill in the SEC, and that's what I tell you is the college football playoff almost every single year. And so they would have the whole college football playoff in their conference. The Big Ten, I think, is reaching out to the California teams and all this because they're trying to go with the SEC and ride with them. I think the SEC is going.
Two mega conferences. Right?
Yeah, I think the SEC is going, but I think the Big Ten's like, hey, can we come with you?
Right.
And the Big 12 is all talk right now.
How would that affect basketball?
I mean, they're talking about having different leagues for different things, like having football here and separating stuff, but
It gets tricky.
I mean, well, the thing that gets weird about the Big Ten is you're going to send your field hockey team 2,300 miles from Penn State to USC.
Right.
You're going to send your volleyball teams, you're going to send your lacrosse teams. There's sports that, we know that schools don't put a lot of money into. And I'm not picking out USC and Penn State specifically at all, but if you focus on basketball and football, what are you going to do with the Olympic sports? Are you going to get rid of them?
Right.
Are you going to put them in their separate league? Are you going to source them separately? Because if your boosters are throwing money into collectives, they're not throwing money into collectives to save your women's soccer program.
Right.
That's for football. It might be for basketball. But they're not giving you that money for track and field. So what's going to happen to Olympic sports is a question. And we talk about the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Well, I mean, our 50th anniversary, that's great. What are we doing for women's sports right now? Are we going to protect them? In this world we live in today, men's basketball and football, that's it. And what's going to happen to everybody else? I'm concerned. And I'm really concerned about the travel. Are you going to send your field hockey team on a bus trip across the country? Right. And if they have a game there, and then they have another game, if they have a game on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, are they even going to class that week? So many questions. Yeah. You talk about classroom, community court. It sounds like in the Big Ten and the SEC, it might be court or field. Yeah. And the first two will be gone.
Right.
And what's a student athlete if they're not learning anything? And some of them right now, let's be real, aren't learning anything. And so some of these student athletes aren't going to class. So if that's the case now and you just want to throw it out to the world and say, we're just going to have them play sports, then, I mean, at what point does an 18-year-old become a professional athlete?
Right. Yeah, I mean, if they're just doing sports when they're 18, I guess, right? That's college freshmen. But then you look at the ACC, and if there are two mega conferences, obviously the ACC is a strong the best basketball conference in the country. Like how that will be affected, and is Notre Dame going to stay? Is that kind of like a big, like I'm not super well versed in college football and things like that, but that's probably, the big deciding factor for the ACC would be Notre Dame, right?
One of the last chips to fall. I think the two biggest chips in realignment right now are Clemson and Notre Dame. I think if Clemson leaves the ACC for the SEC, and I think if Notre Dame goes to the ACC or the Big Ten, I think that the Big Ten makes more sense. I don't want to say that. I have to be impartial.
Yeah.
I liken Notre Dame to a girl that you're dating. And, well, in my case, could be a girl, could be a guy, whatever y'all fancy. Live your life. But in my analogy, Notre Dame to me would be like if I was the ACC, right? And I've been dating Notre Dame, or I've been trying to date Notre Dame. I asked her out, she said no for football. No. Okay, you know what? You can bring me out on a lunch date. So that's like giving us the Olympic sports. Okay, we can go to dinner. Okay, so now you're giving us basketball, right? So she let me have a little bit, but not all of it. And then she lets me hold her hand, right? And then in 2020, when she came into the league for a year at Notre Dame, she let me kiss her. Let me kiss her on the mouth. Peck. That was it. Tongue, nothing else. And if she goes to the Big Ten, I'm going to have tried to date this girl for 10 years. Spent all this money on her. Traveled her all over the country. Bought her dinner. Got a kiss. Kissed her cheek more than her mouth. Held her hand a couple times. And then she's going to call me up and say, I've been sleeping with the Big Ten this whole time. Thank you for the dinner. That's what it feels like. I honestly feel like, in an analogy, it's like you're trying to date this girl who just had a baby by the Big Ten. Like, that is where I'm at right now. And because the Big Ten surrounds South Bend,
Okay.
they can offer money more than the ACC.
Right.
And allegedly, Notre Dame's they have 3 years left on a contract with NBC 2025. If you pay attention to everything, by the way, almost everything important that we're talking about right now ends in 2025 or 2026. College football playoff, Oklahoma and Texas moving, and then Notre Dame's contract with NBC. So Notre Dame, and not everything that's important, but big pieces, Notre Dame is allegedly talking with NBC now about increasing their revenue. And they have 3 years left on the contract. They're making $15 million a year. Allegedly, they're asking for 75.
Oh, wow.
They're asking for a 5 times increase. And why do I think they're asking for 75? Because I think the Big Ten already said that and this is just my thought as a business person. I think the Big Ten, in my opinion, not that they told me, I think the Big Ten was like, we'll give you 70. So I think they went back to NBC and said, all right, you know what, before I take this job with my new employer, what do you got for me? Because if it's all about the money, like, yeah, you want to be independent, but if NBC comes back and says the best we can do is 25, 30, 40, and the Big Ten goes, we can do 70, then maybe we see Notre Dame stop being independent in football. And they would go to the Big Ten, which means that they would go to the Big Ten and then yank everything else from the ACC. So not only would you toy with the ACC, use and abuse the ACC, but you would take you said you were going to move in with the ACC, and now you're going to pick up all your furniture to move in with the Big Ten that you've dated for 5 days. So it's an ugly, ugly world. By the way, Notre Dame is a Catholic university, and if they do any of these things, the Christian way is backseat to the cheddar that they're about to make. So I think somebody said it to me recently, and they said they're about to be like the most un-Catholic, un-Christian place you could be if they do what they could do. Because keeping your word, being honest, relationship building, caring about how you perceive, like how people like trust and all of that, if you ruin these relationships and pull all this stuff on it, it will be a very un-Christian, money-oriented move by Notre Dame. In which I think, I don't think they'll really care about it. I think they'll just move and deal with making more money.
Right. Yeah.
So the ACC's got to get advantageous, and I'll tell you that the ACC network is not advantageous to a lot of people because a lot of us got rid of cable, and I don't want to buy cable and then have to pay for an extra network. I would love to just get the ACC network as an app. I know it's through ESPN, but I'd like to just get it as an app. You got enough people out there that know what they're doing. Get an ACC network app, charge people $8 a month, watch all your games. Because Syracuse fans can't watch Syracuse games in Syracuse, and it's driving people nuts.
It is.
So it's not just a revenue thing, it's like a sensical thing. So Clemson and Notre Dame are those two big pieces to fall, and they both could negatively affect the ACC.
2025.
The world is interesting. I like prognosticating. I feel like a lot of things are going in the direction that I've been saying, but I want the ACC to thrive, and in order to thrive, they have to show their might.
Right. Yeah.
The SEC cut off the head of the Big 12. They didn't take from the Big 12. They took the top 2 teams. The Big 10 didn't take from the Pac-12. They took the top 2 teams. So you got 2 conferences cutting the heads off of 2 other conferences, and the other power conference is just waiting. So either they're going to get their head cut off or they're going to cut off a head, but they can't because those 2 heads have already been cut off. Nobody's cutting off the head of the Big 10. Nobody's cutting off the head of the SEC. So the only move that the ACC can make now that will have any value that's close to that is Notre Dame.
Right. And if they get Notre Dame, that'll stabilize the conference.
Yeah. It's the only move that they can make that is bigger than everything else that's gone on. You got 2 head cutters and you got 2 conferences with no head. So what are you going to do? Either you are the cloud, either you are the ominous cloud, or the ominous cloud settles above your house. And for Jim Phillips and the ACC to be waiting for the cloud to come,
it's bold.
Yeah, I understand their grant of rights deal works in their favor, and it's until 2036. But if your best play is let me force these people to live in my house that don't want to be here, what is that going to feel like? Right? Yeah. Well, whether you like it or not, I have you for 14 more years. To me, that's not called a relationship. That's called a kidnapping. So I don't know if you want to kidnap Clemson and Florida State. I think you want to make sure that your membership is happy and unified. So where the ACC goes from here, a lot of decisions to be made, a lot of unification to be had. And I know that Jim Phillips will be working hard with his team, and I appreciate and respect him. So, Jim, let's do it. And if you need an outside voice, I like the negotiation part of things. So I could definitely get rocking and rolling in this thing.
I see that, yeah.
So with that being said, Clay Gagen-Sherman, the head coach, Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse for men's basketball. Their season is kicking off very soon. He's going to be coming to us in just a few months. Very, very excited, and cannot wait to see them play just a few minutes from Bryant and Stratton College campus in Syracuse, New York on James Street. We are right down the road at 324 West Water Street at Cafe Kubal. And of course, we're inside the Cafe Kubal studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to take our final step aside, and we'll wrap things up right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of Cafe Kubal. Happy to be here with you once again inside of 324 West Water Street, Cafe Kubal in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, 3501 James Street in Syracuse, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. I am here on site on location at Creekwalk Commons on 324 West Water Street. Clay Gagen-Sherman inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats. I told Clay a while back that I fell in love with this logo a long time ago, and now that I get to proudly wear it on my chest and wear it on my hats many a time when I'm out in the community and out at Disney, I rock my Bobcat hat when I'm on Splash Mountain and whatnot. So always love rocking the Bobcats and supporting our local community with local business, local teams, and of course a local boy that was born and raised about 7 minutes from where we are right now. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for being a part of the show. Thank you for supporting Cafe Kubal. It's funny you came in this morning to grab coffee and breakfast and everything that you did. So I appreciate you coming out and supporting the local community. Tune in live Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. on Wake Up Call, youtube.com, facebook.com, and mixlr.com, all / WakeUpCallDT, facebook.com / LiveNowDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows go live, they go into these archives. And for those of you that watch the show religiously, this screen keeps getting bigger, so I had to make a new graphic, which is a great thing, as we always look to expand and grow and progress forward by the grace of God. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or Wake Up Call DT on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and YouTube, as well as asking your Google and Alexa devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're on all of those avenues. And of course, we thank our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avacolli's, Ma&Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. You can order anywhere in the country at maandpazpopcorn.com. There's always a good time to get your popcorn ready. Canine Campground, Millhouse Market, Honda City, Liverpool, Pizza Man, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Mother's Cupboard, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Lemoyne College, Marywood University, and your Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. You can get all of that specials that we've done with all of them on youtube.com / WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe. Go to the Lemoyne tab, the Marywood tab, and the BSC-SYR tabs on WakeUpCallDT.com. And of course, today we let you know even more so, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com to get more information. Our exclusive partnership with the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, Clay Gagen-Sherman, and the entire student-athlete group, as well as the coaches and administration. We love the Bobcats. We're so happy that they're here. We're happy that Clay is here in our community, and we thank you for supporting Cafe Kubal locally and beyond, and the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse locally and beyond. So, with that being said, Clay, thank you.
Appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure.
Always good to have you here, and you got a big week coming up this week. Big time recruiting. You can make sure that anything that happens with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse will be on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find our social media at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, and at WakeUpCall_DT on the Instagram. And for Witty Wicks, you know that candle's always lit in the studio. We'll have our summer Incuse one and plenty going up there in the studio. Head out to Witty Wicks today. Their Christmas in July sale has up to 50% off, and I just bought half the store to get my mom birthday gifts this year. So make sure you head out to Witty Wicks, 190 Township Boulevard in Camilla.